6-4. Tigers, game one of their doubleheader, hammer the Nationals 11-2. Also game one of a doubleheader. Brewers beat the Mets 7-2. One game going on right now as we speak, or no, that is a final as well. Padres, Phillies, game two set to come. Marlins and Twins. Tigers, Nationals, game two coming your way. Blue Jays host the Yankees. Red Sox and Reds in Boston, and game two of the Brewers and Mets still to come.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710, seattlesports.com. Happy Wednesday to everybody on another beautiful summer day outside. Hopefully everybody's enjoying the weather out there, and you're able just to kick back, relax, and let us carry you through the afternoon up until Mariners pregame at 5:30. We're going to have another one of the Seahawks' top 50 players of all time. Chris Gray will join us at 3 p.m. as we make our way through that list one by one. We're going to speak to every one of them. Or hope to speak to as many as we can.
Trying to get as many as we can. We're kind of in that era with Robbie Tobek, Lofa Tatupu, you know, that 05 Super Bowl trip. And, yeah, I mean, Chris Gray, very underrated as far as, you know, it was Steve Hutchinson, who's in the Hall of Fame, Walter Jones, who's in the Hall of Fame, and and you got Robbie Tobek, and so he was kind of the guy. Him and Sean Locklear.
Locklear is the one that always gets forgotten.
Yeah,
I feel like we always mention Gray's name, but Locklear, he's the odd man out.
Yeah, that's true. And that was the one. Remember, Lofa kind of complained about. He didn't complain. He's like, I just wish I would have seen that entire offensive line. Get in there. Boy, those were the days, Bob. What would we complain about?
Just not the O-line. Tell you what, man.
If we were on the air then, oh my goodness.
Yeah, who knows? We would have found something. But Chris Gray will join us at 3 o'clock, so looking forward to that conversation. Jon Morosi joining us today at 4 p.m. We'll do best of the rest at 5 o'clock and then turn you over to the Mariners pregame show at 5:30. You guys can text in 866-979-3776. Rough one last night. Emerson Hancock wasn't great. It was not a good outing for him. 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 102 pitches, and he's been sent down to AAA.
Yeah. Yeah, and so look, remember the first outing that he had, and we had Charlie Furbush in here, and he was like, I wouldn't worry too much about him, but he seems to, you look at in the month of April, he had 3 quality starts.
Yeah.
Right? Actually 2. He went 6 innings and 3 or less, and he looked like he was going to be okay. And he had some, just every once in a while he has a blow up, like the Yankees. Is that right? No,
yeah, his blow ups just always seem harsh.
Right.
It's not like he gave up 4 runs. No, he gave up 7. He gave up 8.
The Yankees, he gave up 7 in 5 innings, and so. I don't know. It just feels like Emerson Hancock. He's what a lot of people have as their 5th starter, right? He's a guy that can kind of get you through it, basically, and you hope to win those games. But just everyone. But this time getting sent down was that surprising?
Yes, I'm surprised they sent him down.
Yeah. Because I guess it indicates there's something else wrong other than what we just saw, because this is kind of his pattern.
Yeah, and they called up a guy that I frankly, to be honest, I hadn't heard of. Joe, as they put it here, Jakes. It looks like Jacques, but Joe Jakes. He's 30 years old. He's appeared in 26 AAA games this season between the Mariners and Dodgers, going a combined 2-1 with a 6.19 ERA. He's lefty. He's appeared in parts of 2 Major League Baseball seasons with Boston and Arizona. Well, let's get our resident Boston expert. What can you tell us about the great Joe Jakes?
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty? Is that how you say his last name?
Jakes. Yeah. Like in Red Sox fandom lore, there's the Joe Jakes game. Like I didn't know he was on the Mariners at all.
I didn't either.
This was kind of a resurgence from the grave. So, I mean, maybe the Mariner pitching lab tweaked something. They've had success with other guys who have been dumped before, but this did not excite me for the Mariners.
Yeah, he's also appeared in parts of 7 minor league seasons with the Pirates, Red Sox, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, and Mariners organizations, originally selected by the Pirates in the 33rd round of the 2018 MLB first-year draft. So
well, that seems...
I don't know what the plan is for him. I don't know if this is a one-star thing and they're going to work on something with Hancock. Or I was surprised, though. Yeah, he was not great. It was not a good outing for him, but surprised.
Yeah. Well, and I think it also, I mean, like we always talk about, we're not there watching him throw bullpens or whatever he's doing, and a lot of times that that this indicates that there's something really wrong with Emerson Hancock. So
something they want to work out there that they don't want to work out at the minor league level or the major league level, but
because we've seen this before from him.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, the Joe Jakes game. That's never a good thing. That's never good. So yeah, I don't know what the plan is for him. He is a lefty, so that's a little different. We'll see. Yeah, it was. I mean, look, Emerson Hancock, he was not good, and so we'll see what goes on there, and does he make another start down there, and they work on some tweaks here and there, and then they call him right back up, or is he going to be down there for a bit? I don't know. I mean, we saw it. I'm surprised if you just needed pitching help, and then we'll hear what Dan Wilson has to say about it. But you had Logan Evans come up here and pitch pretty well. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised he wouldn't have been I don't know where he's at in his turn, his rotation, whatever. But we'll see. Interesting move. So yeah, bad night for Emerson Hancock. He gets sent down, and then just sloppy ball. I mean, Jorge Polanco getting picked off of first base. Yeah, what the hell are you doing, man? And that's happened so many times this year. Our guy Luke Arkin sent out a thing last night. Of course, he had the stats of which teams lead in being picked off, and the Mariners are like one away from the league lead. And it's just one of those moments where you're going, what are you doing? Why are you that far? You got a banged up knee. You've been out of the lineup. Now you're back in there, and were you getting ready to steal? Was that what was going to happen there?
Well, and when the throw came over, he was headed the wrong way, right? I mean, he had a little
leaning.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was that kind of sloppy stuff. It's like we saw the error the other day and end up costing him the game. Just those little things. And, I mean.
The Rays have been picked off 12 times. The Mariners, Rockies, and Royals 11 times. So they're tied for second.
That's weird because I don't remember being pissed 11 times watching games this year.
Yeah, Julio's been picked off a couple of times. I think Dylan Moore has been picked off. It's just things like that. Those are things under your control, right? You can't control the way the ball bounces sometimes, but those are things. You had that, and then you had Julio just absolutely misplay a ball. I mean, he ran to the fence, started to climb it like he was going to attempt a catch over the fence, and then it hits the base of the fence. Mm-hmm. You're like, what the hell are you doing, man? What I mean, we've been critical of what he's been at the plate, but he's a tremendous defensive center fielder. He just is. That was not representative of that. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what happened there. I think Dan Wilson after the game tried to give him a soft landing here.
Yeah, it looked like he was going back on it, and that's a play where you have to check the wall, and when he went back to find the ball, it was it looked like it had moved a little bit on him, but I thought in general the wind was kind of funky tonight out there in the outfield. It looked like there were a lot of balls where guys were just unsure until the last moment what was happening. So it was just a tough one, and he has been so good for us out there, and has saved us so many times, and that was just a tough play.
Yeah, I don't recall anybody else looking awkward out there. Maybe I missed something. The wind didn't appear to be a factor to me. That I wasn't out there, so maybe somebody was at the game can tell me. Yeah, it was really howling. Okay, but he said when he said, yeah, he found the wall, and then when he looked back, it looked like the ball moved a little bit. Like it moved a little bit, moved a whole lot from where he was on the fence versus where it hit on the fence. So,
well, and you got to say, I mean, that is just so out of the ordinary for Julio, right?
yeah, I mean,
It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, that was just weird.
Defensively.
That was just a weird play, but it sort of represented the evening, right? Just kind of sloppy ball. You didn't get a great start, obviously, out of Hancock. You had those mistakes. You had the top of the lineup. You had JP, Julio, and Cal combined to go 1 for 12 with 6 strikeouts. And 4 of those strikeouts were Cal going 0 for 4 with 4. He had the golden sombrero last night. Julio beating the ball into the ground. It was a frustrating game for me to watch. One of the upsides, I guess, is a guy we've been hoping would get hot, and it looks like maybe he's starting to get hot. Yeah. And that's Randy Arozarena.
The windup and the 3-2 on the way to Randy. Swing and a well-hit ball deep to left field. Is this going to be 102? It is. Goodbye, baseball. Holy smokes. Randy Arozarena over the Mariners bullpen in left field. He hit 100 and 101 last night, number 102 tonight.
That should have been a 2-run shot because Polanco got picked off first, so it turns into a solo shot. But 3 home runs in 2 games, and maybe getting that number 100 was a bigger deal than we ever talked about or gave credit to. Maybe he was, because it had been a drought. He hadn't hit a home run in a while before he hit number 100. And maybe some of that pressure was just like, oh, okay, that was a big deal for him, and then he hit the second one in that game and then hit one in this game. So Arozarena getting hot goes a long way into helping this lineup.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, is that was frustrating about it is that, we've talked about, hey, look, Randy needs to pick it up, and he has. I mean, he's had 4 games with multiple hits in a row, but then you got, like you said, nothing from Julio or Cal, and, that was kind of supposed to be the guy that sort of supports, especially Cal, who, if you take his numbers out, I mean, it's ridiculous how much they drop in rankings. So, yeah, I mean, it was frustrating. I mean, I'm happy for him. Happy to hopefully he's hot, and then Julio and Cal are get back to where they are typically. Maybe not Julio so much, but and there's your help. And you went 0 for 4 with Cal, and Julio, like you said, beating the ball into the ground.
Yeah, just a frustrating night, man. And look, they still can accomplish what we talked about. We talked about you got a 7-game homestand. You got to take 3 of 4 from the Royals and take 2 of 3 at least. Look, I'm open for a sweep of the Pirates. You can't have it now with the Royals because you lost, but you can still accomplish the goal. Take 3 of 4, win these next 2 against the Royals. Take 2 of 3 from the Pirates, hopefully 3, and you're walking out of this homestand feeling really good about things because you're ending the first half of the season with very tough competition on the road, going up against the Yankees and the Tigers. Yeah. So you need these games. You need to pad the gap there that you have with the final wild card spot, which shrunk by a game last night. So you need to capitalize on what are the weaker teams on your schedule as much as possible. And that's stating the obvious, but you got to do it. Otherwise, we're looking at, all right, what's the likelihood that they're going to win a series against the Yankees on the road or the Tigers the way they're playing? Yeah. Doesn't feel likely. Certainly they can do it, but I've got much more confidence in what they can do against these 2 teams at home. So make hay while you can, while you've got that opportunity in front of you.
Well, and I think they're going to, because, I mean, you look at the schedule right now, and you got Gilbert, Wu, Castillo, and Kirby coming up here. So, I mean, we talked about taking 3 of 4 maybe from Kansas City. Still an opportunity for that with Gilbert and Wu, and then you got Castillo and Kirby and against Pittsburgh. And so at that point you're like, okay, we won that series. That'll be a great way to go into that road trip that looks pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's this is where they got to shine. This is where you got to get it done. And just for the offense, you gave up 6 runs to the lowest scoring offense in all of baseball in the Royals, and hopefully that was their one game. Again, Emerson Hancock, a bad outing. He gets sent down to AAA. See how long he's down there. But yeah, the other guys that you really, and he's the one guy I'm going to say we make excuses for, but he's the one I've got the least amount of expectation attached to him. I expect much more when Wu takes the hill, when Castillo takes the hill, when Gilbert and Kirby take the hill. I just have a different level of expectation. So Wu is a guy that you count on to give you 6 because he's done it every time out. You expect that from him. you feel like you're going to get a win when he's on the hill. You just got to have this offense back these guys up, man. Yeah, I mean, even though Hancock wasn't great, the game wasn't completely out of hand. You put up 3 runs.
All right.
You know, this is you got to be better than that. And maybe they're just not. Maybe they're just a team that's just flawed enough to where, yeah, they're going to have nights where they shine offensively, but ultimately they're just kind of a mediocre team.
Gosh, I hope not.
Well, in the AL, that might still be good enough to get you into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Being good, you're not great, but if you're good, I think the Mariners are a mediocre to good team. They've shown they can be a very good team at times, but to me, great teams have much more consistency in what they're putting out there on the field, and the Mariners aren't that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just so up and down. And, I mean, look, it's one game, but, like, I feel like we've seen this before. And, there's always that concern. And then the other thing is just the Astros. I mean, they just continue to win and just look like they're, uncatchable, basically. So, yeah, that's the thing I think that adds the most. And also just the hatred for the Houston Astros makes it even worse.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's the Astros just. I was just reading a story today about Alvarez had a setback with his hand. He's been out for I think 2 months at this point, and now he's had a setback, and he's going to be out even longer. They haven't missed him. Yeah. They're just winning games.
I have to admit, I saw that it was maybe a little bit worse than they thought, and I really felt joy, actually.
Yeah, I'm not upset that he's out of the lineup. Yeah, I'm not rooting for even Astros. I'm not rooting for them to get hurt.
No,
but he's already hurt, so hey, if it keeps him out longer, fine. But yeah, they've won 8 of 10. There's now a 7-game gap between the Mariners and the Astros in the AL West. 7 games. And the Angels are right there, 8.5 back. Rangers 9.5, and then the A's are way out of it, 17 back. But yeah, so that continues to grow. Meanwhile, the Mariners' lead in the wild card shrunk by a game. They're up a game and a half. They were 2.5, so they're up a game and a half on the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah. Well, Matt asked the question, what do you need to see before the All-Star break to make you believe they'll have a playoff run? I mean, certainly if you're able to take those 2 series against Detroit, and I know that's asking a lot, but
that'd
Detroit and the Yankees, I mean,
you take those 2 series, phenomenal. I'm almost upset that there's a break. I wouldn't want to disrupt that rhythm.
Right. But, the other thing I'd like to see is, not like one at a time. Like Cal has a good game, but Julio and Randy don't. I'd like to see those guys support each other and get some help and all at the same time instead of like every other game.
Yeah. It's a frustrating aspect, and Cal's been more consistent than anybody in that lineup. Look, I'm not going to go crazy over. We'll talk about his night last night, but I'm not looking at this as, oh my God. It just came at a bad time when you didn't get much from anybody else. The offense just kind of went flat again, and you hurt yourself again with the getting picked off, and some of the damage that Hancock incurred based on Julio misplaying that ball in the outfield. It's just you made things worse for yourself. It was not a clean game. You didn't play clean baseball last night, and the offense just it remains frustrating, man. It just is just such a frustrating part of this team, and it has been for years. Meanwhile, if you missed any part of our show, you just want to go watch things over again, you can check out our Wyman and Bob channel on the Seattle Sports YouTube page. You can search for Seattle Sports, search for Wyman and Bob Stelton on all social media platforms like Instagram or X, Blue Sky, Threads, all of that. All of our conversations, interviews with Seahawks players, Mariner players, all of that. It's up there if you miss any part of it. Or you can go to the podcast page at seattlesports.com. And the beauty of all of this is it's completely free. Right. It's at the right price. Let's take 2.
Bob just alluded to this truly heartbreaking news, but Houston Astros slugger Yordan Alvarez has experienced a setback in his recovery from a broken right hand and will have to see a specialist.
It is heartbreaking. Astros GM Dana Brown said, we felt like he was close because he had felt so good of late, but this is certainly news that we didn't want. And I can empathize with that. Certainly you don't want that news, and that guy's huge for their lineup, but if I'm him, I'm floating one up saying thank you. Thank you. We've been able to survive his absence, and we've been thriving in his absence. It's just amazing. They're without him. They're without Pena now.
Yeah, 10-day injury list for him.
Yeah, he's got a rib situation going on there. So they've overcome, problems with their rotation, injuries there, the absence of guys that were, pillars. Tucker and Bregman and people like that are gone, and they just keep winning, man. It's maddening.
Yeah, well, and look, maybe the 10-day injury list for Pena extends a little bit because I know ribs are very tricky.
Yeah.
Though the one thing I remember, I broke a rib one time when I was playing in Denver, and it doesn't matter if you have like a strain or it's broken or something is going on there. It's ribs.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt, and like it's going to be like that's your torso, man.
Every movement hurts.
Yes. Even taking a deep breath hurts.
Shohei Ohtani hit his 30th home run of the season last night, tying in with Aaron Judge in second place, but still behind Cal Raleigh's MLB leading 33.
I like it. I like seeing those names there. I like seeing Cal amongst Ohtani, who might be my favorite player to watch outside of any Mariner. It'd be Ohtani and Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts, I was going to say.
Yeah, Mookie's my guy.
Why do you hate Mookie?
I love Mookie. I love Mookie Betts. But Ohtani's just such a freak, right? We've just never seen anything like Shohei Ohtani. So I'm appreciating him as a baseball fan while he's here, because I feel like when we're old and gray talking about baseball from decades ago, we're going to talk about, I was watching that guy in his prime.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a great time for Major League Baseball right now as far as who the heroes are. Mm-hmm. Because we were talking about that race between McGuire and Bonds, and it was kind of clouded by the whole steroid thing. But these guys, you got Aaron Judge, who's kind of a freak of nature. Ohtani definitely is, and now you got Cal. And I don't know. I was thinking, I think people need to start to look at Cal kind of like Ohtani, that you're also doing something that's amazingly hard to do. And Ohtani, being almost as good of a pitcher as he is a hitter, it's phenomenal. It's a great time for Major League Baseball. But yeah, that's kind of hopefully people appreciate Cal that way as much as they do Shohei.
Take Two is brought to you by Swedish Cyberknife. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate. Coming up, time to continue our trip around the Seahawks division by diving into the L.A. Rams offseason. We're going to get into that next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Independence Day, when we celebrate this great nation of ours and the many reasons we're grateful to call ourselves Americans. Freedom, liberty, time spent with friends and loved ones, and way too many burgers, dogs, and cold ones to keep count of. Wishing you a safe and happy 4th of July from Seattle Sports on 710, the Seattle Sports app, and seattlesports.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
The Golfapalooza of the summer, the Butts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Titleist, FootJoy, TaylorMade, Callaway, the biggest names at 50 to 70% off. It's your time to save, and it all starts Thursday at Butts.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs, Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service will help your company with logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linen, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do. Visit suplinen.com.
21 days until Seahawks training camp. And Seahawks training camp lives on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Rick Riz here, and it's the final month to submit your nomination for Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Pella's owners are donating $5,000 to 2 local youth sports organizations. Many local teams are in need of new equipment, field improvements, or uniforms. If you know a team who could use funding, nominate them at seattlesports.com/play. Join Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington and help our local youth thrive. Go to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a team in need right now.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Headed to the ballpark? Skip the traffic jams, parking fees, and the stress of driving. Make riding transit part of your game day ritual. Roll in with your crew, talk stats, and meet fans. No traffic, no stress. Community Transit riders enjoy seamless connections to light rail and ferries to get to Seattle and beyond. And youth 18 and under ride the bus for free. All in for the win. Plan your trip with Community Transit at ctgo.org/homerun.
This hour is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Text line is there for you, 866-979-3776. You guys can weigh in on whatever you'd like. Mariners, Seahawks, whatever's on your mind. We'll get into all of that. We started our little preview of the NFC West yesterday, taking a look at the Arizona Cardinals, who I refuse to buy into anything they do with any player. I don't care how great they are until I see it on the field in the win column. I just don't buy anything that team does. So,
I do think, boy, it's year 15. You'd think I'd turn my
there's
microphone
on, there's off. It's confusing. You know, it could be one of two things.
Too many choices.
It's a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah, I mean, as long as that team seems to go the way of Kyler Murray,
yeah,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
but
they can beat you. certainly. But just when it's all said and done, I don't expect him to be anywhere.
But Matthew Stafford is a different story. And I think when we went through looking at the schedule coming up, I think did I have 10-7 or was I 11-6 maybe? I
know the Seahawks this year?
Moyer was like 12-5.
I think he thinks they're going undefeated.
Yeah.
I think you had them at 11.
Yeah. So, and I think I had them splitting with the Rams, and, they've just been kind of a menace. I was looking at their numbers. I mean, offensively and defensively, it doesn't really tell the story of a playoff team, but because total offense, they were number 15, so, pretty much middle of the pack. Their defense was number 26 as far as yards anyway, and points, they're number 17, so, again, middle of the pack. But they've done a really good job with their drafts. Over the last couple years, you look at the top 4 pass rushers, Braden Fisk, who was a number 2 pick last year, and Jared Verse, who, they're saying he's very unlucky because he had like 76 pressures, according to, I guess it was Pro Football Focus or whatever. And, he only had 4.5 sacks. So he was, 4th as far as pressures go, but 95th in the NFL in sacks. So he's going to start to get home. I actually saw a game where they took 2 sacks away from him because of, some kind of a penalty. It was against Chicago. And then, the year before, or actually in 23, they got Kobe Turner and Byron Young, and those guys together had over 15 sacks. So they do a good job with their defense. Kind of interesting. They don't, and this is how we ended up with Ernest Jones. They don't pay their off-the-ball backers. Mm-hmm. Defensively, that's just one of their, and that's when Ernest Jones wanted too much, and thankfully we ended up getting him in a trade. But
they only kept Bobby for 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what did Bobby make? Like $5 million? I think it was.
I thought it was like 8. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's fine. He's doing just fine.
Yeah, he'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, you look at Puka Nacua as a guy that they got in the 5th round in 2023, had 990 yards last year, 3 touchdowns, and then, Matthew Stafford. We were talking with Stacy, and I guess it was Bump that was. He said Jordan Love was his best quarterback in the NFC. I probably would have said Stafford, but I can't pick Goff. You know that.
You just won't allow yourself to pick Goff.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford was to me, he just scares me for whatever reason. And remember that last game, we didn't even see him. We didn't see him or Puka Nacua or Kyron Williams. They sat everybody, and Seahawks ended up beating them. But I just keep going back to that game last year, and we always talk about this with the Mariners, that you're looking at a game or two or a series or whatever. And to me, I think last year it was that Detroit series, I think, where they screwed it up. But last year I look at that Ram game at home where in overtime, they're on the 16-yard line, the Seahawks. They have a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1 at the 16-yard line, and they don't convert.
Mm-hmm.
Could have kicked a field goal, but that wouldn't have, won the game for them. But at that point, I don't even remember considering it. I was like, look, if you can't pick up a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1, come on.
You don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it. And the thing that drove me nuts about that series is that, they had everybody spread out and handed the ball to K9. He got 6 yards, 4 yards. Well, all of a sudden in those short yardage situations, they bring everybody in. It attracts all the flies on the defense, and then they're not able to pick it up. So, yeah, it came down to that, basically. That was, you could look at other games as well that kept them out of the playoffs, but, that was one where they just,
since we're talking Rams, we'll say that's the one.
Yeah, no question.
I like this quote from Barnwell, though, that Matt put up here. Earlier in the offseason, Bill Barnwell named the Rams as the team most likely to cut coupons on defense. And then the quote is, in a league in which 31 other teams are averaging more than $136 million on their defense, the Rams are spending just over half at $71 million on that side of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's interesting, and like I said, they've drafted well, and they don't.
well, and
pay
that's
their
part of
inside
it, right?
backers, right?
Those guys aren't being paid yet.
Right.
It's like when the Legion of Boom days, and you had Russell on a rookie contract, and you had Sherm, and you had all these guys on their rookie contracts not being paid.
Right.
So it's not.
That was a glorious time, wasn't it?
It was, and this from you read that comment and you're going, okay, they don't put an emphasis on defense. It's like, well, no, they got a lot of young talent playing on rookie contracts,
right?
That are cheap by football standards. So yeah, that the dollar amount is not going to be huge on that side of the ball yet.
Right.
It will be if they keep all these guys.
Yeah, and I got to say that Braden Fisk, I mean, that was a hell of a draft because as a rookie, he got 8.5 sacks.
Where was he picked?
He was a second rounder. So, and remember Jared Verse? I remember talking about him, and he was like the one edge rusher.
Seahawks fans wanted him.
Yeah, and he has been really good as well, and lots of pressures like we talked about. But yeah, they just do a good job with the draft. It seems like, and every year it feels like they're able to somehow, just because they have certain principles, and one of them is not paying their inside backers, for example. So, yeah, I mean that's. It's just interesting, and I think for a long time they had the Seahawks number, pretty much. But I thought that was more of a Pete thing, and I think
it seemed like they were that way with Jeff Fisher there, though, too. With Fisher or McVay, they were just always a problem.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the nature of playing your division. You just know these teams, and regardless of the season they're having, we're talking about the Cardinals. Cardinals have been bad for years. They give the Seahawks problems. It's just that familiarity, I guess.
Yeah, I remember going into last year. I think they were 10-5 against the Seahawks, going back to
the
when
Rams.
McVay came in. Yeah, and one of those being a playoff loss. Remember the pandemic year, lost here to the Rams.
Guy with no thumb.
That's right.
Yeah, Jared Goff was hurt. They had Wofford. He got hurt, and then Goff comes in minus a thumb.
Yeah,
beats him.
How does that dope come in here and? No,
that dope was the second leading passer in the league last year.
I know.
4,600 yards for Jared Goff, 72.4% completion. And he had 37 touchdowns and 12 picks. He was really good.
I'll tell you, last year, Baker Mayfield, same thing down in Tampa Bay.
Mayfield, 41 touchdowns, 16 picks, he was third, 4,500 yards, 71.4% completion.
Yeah, and then we talked about Sam Darnold, just sort of these resurrecting careers.
Yeah.
And and I just remember when the Rams, they decided, I remember seeing, they were in a playoff game, I think it was against the Packers. This might have been 2020, I can't remember. You could see Sean McVay turn his back on Jared Goff. It was like, I've had enough of you, and that's it. And then they end up, shipping him off, or I can't even remember how that transaction went down, whether they cut him or they,
he's
but
thriving in Detroit.
Yeah, and it's
by the way,
interesting.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the numbers of the quarterbacks here. I'm surprised that Bump was that high on Jordan Love.
Yeah,
I mean, he's athletic, he's got some moments, but he completed 63% of his passes last year, 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 picks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you look at players and the numbers don't necessarily justify it, but I
guess he's going on potential.
I didn't hear what he brought up about him. I think
his rationale.
He thinks he's a smart quarterback. That's for sure.
Yeah. So there's a look at the Rams. They don't spend a ton of money yet on the defensive side of things, but they got some studs on that side of the ball, and they've also strength of schedule. They've got the 16th easiest, according to ESPN, and their win total they've got set at 9.5. What was it for the Seahawks? Was it 6.5?
I thought somebody told me they got 7.5.
The Seahawks, yeah.
But at one point, I think it was 6.5.
According to ESPN, they got the over/under for the Rams set at 9.5.
Yeah.
So we'll continue our preview with the San Francisco 49ers. I'll be curious to see what that line is at, because they were terrible last year, but they were riddled with injuries to every key player on that team. So we'll see how much faith there is in the 49ers when we preview them tomorrow. Meanwhile, are the fears about Cal participating in the home run derby starting to look credible? We'll get into that next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Tonight,
Logan looks in. Here's the stretch.
the Mariners send Logan Gilbert to the mound as the M's look for their third win in their last 4 games.
The 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
Mariners, Royals.
Go down Now swinging.
First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you to pregame at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can also be a financial hardship. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. This year, we are proud to celebrate 25 years of Northwest Hope and Healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $2.8 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make a difference. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 17th at the Columbia Collective in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of unwavering hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 17th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
When the heat's in 11,
Cool AC would be heaven.
dayandnight.net. Some AC you'll be loving.
When your house is an oven.
dayandnight.net.
Northwest summers are beautiful, but there's always a long hot stretch that makes everyone say, man, AC sure would be nice. Well, except for that one annoying friend who won't stop talking about how great his AC is. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Don't sweat through another summer. Have Day and Night keep your house cool and comfortable by installing a high-efficiency AC or heat pump. Or if you have an existing system, we'll come and service it. Make sure it's running efficiently and ready to cool when you need it.
When the summer is cooking,
We're the place to be looking.
dayandnight.net. Stay cool this summer with Day and Night. Call now to get 10% off an air conditioner or heat pump. Plus, no payments or interest for a year OAC. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
dayandnight.net.
Do you know a woman that gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Maura Dooley here. Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 4th Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 11th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
The home of the Mariners.
It is gone! Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run!
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. we can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Dave Wyman joined by Dr. Daniel Landis from Swedish Cyberknife. Dr. Landis, when treating prostate cancer, what can patients expect during Cyberknife treatment?
So the Cyberknife treatment's an outpatient procedure. Essentially, it's a 5-day treatment, about 30 minutes per day. You walk in, you walk out. You essentially don't feel anything at all during treatment. Many patients still work full-time while they're having treatment.
That's incredible. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/cyberknife prostate.
At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, experience the power of choice. Whether you're cruising in a fuel-sipping Prius, tackling trails in a rugged Tacoma, hauling with the mighty Tundra, or commuting in comfort with the Camry or RAV4, your perfect Toyota is waiting. Whether you're in the north or the south, they've got you covered. 2 locations, endless possibilities. Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, the power of choice is yours. Visit their incredible team and beautiful showrooms today or online at toyotaofkirkland.com and toyotaofrenton.com.
O'Brien. Wyman and Bob.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Coming up at 3 o'clock, Chris Gray, one of the 50 greatest Seahawks to ever put on a Seahawks uniform, will join us.
I was kind of screwed up by this because he's Central Time Zone.
Oh, boy.
So I was like,
that was a fun conversation, yeah.
Jeez, okay. And I told him, I go, look, Chris, I got hit in the head a lot, so I have to say that this is 3 o'clock here, 5 o'clock your time.
Where is he?
Out. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
He's in the Alabama High School Hall of Fame, I think. We saw on that little clip I sent you, so I'm assuming that's where it is. He went to Auburn.
All right.
So I think he's an Alabama guy.
All right.
But wait a minute, is Alabama in the Central Time Zone? I wouldn't know.
I don't know where it turns to East Coast.
Yeah.
I know when I lived in Chicago, it was Central.
Yeah.
And same for St. Louis. So, meanwhile, we talked about how the home run derby could or could not impact Cal, and is it more superstition or is there anything to it? We've talked about Bobby Abreu is like the cautionary tale. This guy who's just on fire, hitting home runs left and right, does the home run derby and just falls into a well after that, and it's happened to others. But yesterday we had Cal doing the practice run, if you will, with his dad out there throwing him pitches.
And his brother.
Was his brother catching?
I thought he was.
I don't know
yeah.
if was he? Okay. I know they were interviewing him and his dad. And Shannon was out there talking to him, and he was talking about just how exhausting it was.
It was a little exhausting, not gonna lie. It was tiring, a lot of swings, and like I just said, I think we learned, you got to slow it down a little bit and maybe swing a little slower, not swing as hard. So, try to go for more quality over quantity, because I think, when we get there, the adrenaline's going to be going, so we're going to be going plenty fast. It's just going to be about slowing it down and, hitting that rhythm.
That's the other thing. He mentioned the adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be in control of that.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be something, because, he said that this was something that, he'd been dreaming of since he was a little kid. He said, we find a fence somewhere and play a home run derby. And so, yeah. And then he goes 0 for 4 last night. I just thought, and you brought this up, Bob, I'm like, I think people are going to kind of freak out over it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the timing of it. He does it. We're all talking about, is it a thing? Do you want him to do it? Do you not want him to do it? I would say 90% of the people that we're texting in are like, yeah, I want him to do it. Everybody seems to be on board with it. There's a few that are like, I'd rather he didn't. But that's the fear, is it changes your swing, changes your approach. Now, the timing of it's bad because you heard him saying, it was exhausting and, learning how to pace myself. And then he goes out and has a game where he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Right.
It's the timing looks bad.
Right.
We haven't seen that from Cal. When's the last time he struck out 4 times? He does have swing and miss. He's second on the team in strikeout, so it's not rare for him to strike out. But on the heels of this whole thing, it's just the look of it. Like, all right, was he exhausted from practicing? Was he changing was he too eager up there? Did it throw off his timing because he's sitting there hitting, I'm guessing his dad's throwing the ball probably 45 miles an hour or something. I didn't see the video of him hitting, but I don't think he's firing fastballs up there. So did it screw up his timing? Was he now off because the guy he's facing is throwing 95 and then going off speed at 87 or whatever? Maybe it did impact him for the day. I don't know. I'm not going to say that's it. He shouldn't be a part of it. This is proof.
Yeah, I wish he hadn't used the word exhausting, just because that kind of was like, okay, yeah. But I don't know if I told you this. I sent an email, but I watched the entire Pat McAfee interview. I mean, it was like 30 minutes.
That's way too much Pat McAfee.
Yeah, and they were asking, some of the questions, like, oh, so what makes you go lefty or righty? And he was very gracious about that.
They asked him what makes him go lefty versus righty.
Yeah, like how do you decide that?
Are they serious? That was a serious question?
That was the question. And
for the
you know
love
what?
of God, man.
But you know what Cal did? He goes, actually, there's a guy that sometime we'll go righty on righty who's a switch hitter. He was referring to somebody. And so he really, let him off the hook, kind of. And then, and then he basically was talking about, and then, the last reason, he said something about, curveballs and this and coming into your body. And then he said something about, I typically just go, if they're right-hander, I'm
going
lefty. Yeah. So, like I said, he was so gracious about it. And then, just all the questions and everything that they asked him. He's Cal. And so I don't worry about him being, mentally messing up Cal Raleigh, just because he is just such a steady dude. And throughout that interview, and they loved him, of course. But, one of the things that, they ask him about all these, what about, tipping pitches, and what about, the video thing, and there was the garbage can and things like that. And he's like, yeah, well, some people do that. And, and then, they were asking him about all these different things. Like, what about the ball? Does it, at one point people were talking about, during a home run race that, the balls were packed tighter or whatever. And he was like, yeah, every once in a while you hit one to the track and you think, I wonder if that's because of the seams, because there was something about the seams being, different in different baseballs. So he is just a very, very steady character. And I think that's why people love him. And that's why, they had him on for 30 minutes. I've never seen anybody go on because I think they went off the air and then they went to their podcast and he continued the interview. Like I said, it was like 30 minutes long, but he just gave him Cal answers, yeah, well, sometimes, I just want to get on the same page as the umpire, the guy behind the plate and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think the exhausting part of it is okay, physically that may have affected it and it may affect him in some way. But as far as all of a sudden him trying to hit home runs I don't think he's going to change his approach. And I don't think that's going to be a concern at all. And that's just because he's Cal. He's just a steady dude who just gives, the answers were just very kind of folksy and he didn't tell him too much, and that's just who he is. And so
I like that he took it easy on him when they said, how do you determine whether you're hitting left or right-handed?
Yeah.
Been you guys haven't watched baseball, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
anybody ever play baseball growing up? Anybody? That's not a seam head answer. That's not you got to be deep into baseball nerdism to know that. I mean,
yeah.
What determines whether you hit left or right-handed?
Well, like I said,
come on, McAfee.
Yeah, I mean,
good Lord,
he totally bailed him out, and I have to say, I'll do that if somebody's interviewing me about. And there are people that don't. They'll be like, "What kind of a question is that?" But if somebody asks me a question like that about football, I'll answer it.
What would be the equivalent? How do you determine whether you're running the ball or throwing the ball?
Maybe. That might be it.
I mean, it's not like somebody's asking about shell coverage or, something that could be, football lingo where they're going, wait, what is that? What's weak side? What's that mean? Or,
yeah.
Left, right-handed.
I feel like every once in a while you'll get a snarky answer, in that situation if you're not. But that one was pretty well known, I would think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think the exhausting part of it kind of caught my ear a little bit just because, yeah, I mean, physically, and like I said, on the day of the Derby, he's not going to be able to control the adrenaline that's going
Yeah.
to be going. I mean, he's been wanting to do this since he was a little kid. So, yeah, maybe a little bit concerning. But as far as it, all of a sudden he's going to change his swing and he's going to change his approach and this and that, no, I don't believe that.
Yeah, and look, it may have impacted him yesterday because he did it on the same day. Maybe it did.
Yeah.
But is it going to impact his season moving forward? No. I'm not buying. I do believe his pace will slow down just based on wear and tear in the heat that they're going to be playing in different areas. And that's just the nature of the game. That's why that position is so demanding, and you don't see catchers that produce like this. And it is such a story because of the spot he plays.
Yeah.
I expect some level of regression in the second half. I will be more than happy if that doesn't happen. I will be celebrating, but I'm not going to hold him to that standard. I think, it's fair to assume he's not going to keep up this pace and that the grind of the season will catch up with him a bit. I'm not going to look back and go, well, had he not been in the home run derby, he'd be hitting home runs at the same. No, I just think it's just going to be a natural part of the season. All right, coming up, we'll look back on the best O-line in franchise history with Seahawks legend Chris Gray. He's going to join us next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Independence Day, when we celebrate this great nation of ours and the many reasons we're grateful to call ourselves Americans. Freedom, liberty, time spent with friends and loved ones, and way too many burgers, dogs, and cold ones to keep count of. Wishing you a safe and happy 4th of July from Seattle Sports on 710, the Seattle Sports app, and seattlesports.com.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Whoa. More fiber?
What?
Down here, buddy. It's me, your spoon. Constipation with belly pain still coming back?
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, but Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
This is a test of your emergency alert system.
Hey, everybody, it's Bob Stelton here. Let me tell you about one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. That's when I went to K2 Vision for refractive lens exchange. Now, if you're somebody like me who struggled with distance vision, maybe you always need a pair of reading glasses, K2 Vision RLE could be your perfect permanent solution like it was for me. And here's the cherry on top. You'll never develop a cataract. K2 Vision RLE is quick, painless, and I am seeing great now without glasses or readers. I can actually read restaurant menus. I can read the receipts when they show up. I can read texts on my phone. It's amazing. RLE is an absolute game changer. I'm so excited to spend my good active years not needing reading glasses. K2 Vision RLE gave me great vision that's permanent. The doctors at K2 Vision have performed over 150,000 lens procedures, so they know when RLE is right for you. Schedule your free Zoom consultation today at K2VisionRLE.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. K2VisionRLE.com.
The countdown is on.
21 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Mariners dropped the second game of the four-game series with the Royals last night, and they look to get back in the win column tonight when they send Logan Gilbert to the hill. He'll take the mound at 6:40. First pitch, 5:30 pregame. You can catch it all right here. Seattle Sports on 710. Meanwhile, games that wrapped up on the day. Rays beat the Athletics 6-5. It was the Pirates shutting out the Cardinals 5-0. Game one of a doubleheader between the Phillies and Padres went to the Padres 6-4. Another game one of a doubleheader. Tigers hammered the Nationals 11-2. And another game one. Brewers beat the Mets 7-2. Meanwhile, bad news for the Astros. Their slugger Yordan Alvarez has experienced a setback in his recovery from a broken right hand, and he will now see a specialist. Their GM Dana Brown said he felt pain when he arrived Tuesday at the team's spring training complex in Florida, where he had a workout a day earlier. He also took batting practice Saturday at Dyken Park, but he will be shut down until he's evaluated by the specialist.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
We've been working our way through the list of the 50 greatest Seahawks of all time as they unveiled their list. What has it been, about a month ago, I guess?
Yeah, something like that.
Voting was going on for a few months, and the Seahawks finally unveiled the final results. And we've been talking to each one of the members of that group, and we get a chance to speak to another Seahawks legend who joins us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. One of the 50 greatest to ever put that jersey on. Chris Gray is with us. How are you, man?
I'm good. And you guys?
We're doing great, and appreciate you joining us on the show. And I'll ask you the same question we've asked everybody else we've had a chance to talk to. How surprising was that to you? B, what does that feel like to be acknowledged as one of the 50 greatest in the history of this franchise?
Gosh, I was just blown away. I was blown away when Chuck called me. I thought it was actually Robbie Tobeck and Steve or Walt or somebody playing a joke on me. But I really did. I was blown away. All the great players the Seahawks have had over the years, Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers. I was very appreciative, but I just blown away. That's how I'd have to describe it. So.
Well, Chris, you shouldn't have been, man. I mean, you had 121 consecutive starts, and that's a Seahawk franchise record, man. I mean, you had a great career, really, and Yeah, tell us about, you end up here in Seattle. You started off in Miami. You were in Chicago for a year. And then it sounds like, when you got here, things just really clicked.
Yeah, that's, I started off in Miami. I got drafted there. And, I started there for, I guess, 2.5 years, something like that. And went to Chicago, played one season there. Started probably, 5 or 6 games there. Just guys got hurt, and they brought me in to, anyway. But I made it to Seattle. They asked me if I could play guard and center. And I could play both. And I guess I'm drawing a blank. LSU guy, center before I got there in '97. Kevin Mawai. Kevin was there. Just left. Kevin had just signed with the Jets.
Right.
And I think they signed Kevin Glover, and then Brian Habib came in. So I came in with those 2 guys. Anyway, just things clicked. Kevin got hurt. Habib was playing guard that first year, and then Kevin got hurt, and I was kind of the guy who was going right and left and playing center, as a backup. And Kevin got hurt. Then there's I guess my first year, it was Frank Beatty got hurt. We had another guy, Greg Bladorn. Greg Bladorn got hurt. He was the 3rd string center, and next thing you know, I'm the only center on the roster.
Hey,
so I ended up playing center that year.
Yeah.
Chris, you talked about starting in Miami. You were in Chicago for a year. You're a guy that's, you grew up in Alabama. So Seattle, how familiar was it to you? I assume maybe you'd been there before, but did it feel completely foreign? Like you're on the complete opposite side of the country.
It did. Me and my wife went up there. We weren't sure exactly what to wear, what to take when we went to visit. We're thinking, my gosh, is it cold like Alaska? Or we had no idea. So it was so far out there.
Yeah.
But, man, we fell in love with it. It was a great place to be, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I love you got the call from Chuck Arnold, and I love that that guys never grow up, really. I know when I'm around my teammates, that it's the same thing. They call me whatever my nickname was so I take it that Robbie had maybe him and Walt had played some tricks on you before, or that was expected, right?
Stuff like that. Yes. Well, it's we always. There's so many stories just with at locker room banter and practical jokes. The whole thing. Water. When you take your pads down, the water falling down and icy hot on your pads or your jock strap or something. Anyway, all that crazy stuff. So.
I remember one time.
Always a joke being played.
I remember one time somebody put baby powder in my pockets, and I didn't know. And I went to dinner with my wife, and I went to pull my keys out or whatever, and I just went inside the restaurant. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. No, that's the part you miss. All the camaraderie and the hanging out with the guys.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Chris, is there a moment in your career that obviously you went to the Super Bowl in 2005 with the team, but is there a moment for you individually that stands out, a game, a play, a season, anything that stands out when you reflect on your career?
A game, I'm trying to think. Oh, gosh. I have to think about it. But that one season, 2005 season, we went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, that was a year. We were playing really well. Our offensive line, me and Hutch and Tobeck and Walter and Sean Locklear, we just all clicked. That was probably those 3 or 4 years there when we were all together. That was the best time. I didn't have to really say anything. I could just say Robbie, and he would know exactly what I meant. Mm-hmm. He would say the same to me. What, like, alert or something? We didn't really communicate that much. We didn't have to. We were all on the same page, and that was probably the funnest years I had playing football.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that 2005 year, and I think I brought this up to Robbie too, and I'm pointing this out just to display how good you guys were. But you were playing the Redskins in that 05 season, and it's 3rd and 1. You line up an I formation. This is like Tyler Lockett dropping a pass, right? You got Max Strong as the lead blocker, and then you got Sean Alexander, and they run over the left side. Maybe they should have run over the right side, over where you were, Chris. But over Hutch and Walter Jones, and then of course Robbie, and you didn't pick up the first down, and it was like, this is shocking, man. I mean, you guys were so automatic, and and I asked Robbie about that, and he's like, well, you know how it is. You think you're pretty good, but then the season starts to go, and you don't really understand how good you were until you look back. And you mentioned that year, but that's got to be probably, it just felt that way, right? That you guys were going to just pick things up.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, we studied a lot. I spent a lot of time watching extra film. I think at that time the Seahawks only broke down I want to say it was 4 games. That's what they would do, and I would always go in and have the film guys come down and bring me 5 and 6 games out just so I could see. And my big thing was if there's any crazy defenses. At that time, some of those defensive coordinators were running some crazy defenses or jam. They would run jam defenses. I just want to make sure that everybody was on the same page if they did jump into jam, we would know exactly what to do. And so I was always the guy that's asking all the questions of the coach. And some guys got sick of it, but I just wanted to make sure. Tobeck and Hutch always gave me a hard time.
Yeah.
But of course, I pointed out, as soon as they jumped into jam, I was like, I told you they were going to jump into jam. I'd watch film, but I would see it. I would see it on the 6 games out. They had three reps at jam defense, on goal line or something, and I guess Denver had some crazy defense where there'd only be 2 linemen on the line of scrimmage, and everybody else is walking around, so they wouldn't be lined up. But we ended up figuring out, me and Hutch and Tobeck sat there and watched film. We figured out after every snap, everybody ended up in the same spot. I mean, heck, the left defensive end may be walking over Sean Locklear, but at the end of the snap, he was going to be over at the left side. Anyway, it was they gave a lot of people fits with that defense on 3rd down situations. A lot of guys wouldn't pick it up. A lot of teams wouldn't pick it up. We ended up picking it up pretty well. And anyway, we just had good communication, and we worked together well. So
Chris,
it was a fun year.
Chris, how much do you still watch a lot of football?
I do, yeah.
What do you think of just watching O-lines these days? It feels like for the Seahawks in particular, it's been problematic over the years, just trying to find that group that can, develop that chemistry. And just like you said, you could just shout Robbie's name. They know what you meant. You don't have to be specific. It seems like that's a rarity these days, and it is for the Seahawks. What do you see when you watch?
I think even college, there's a few teams, obviously Nick Saban at Alabama, those guys had the best players in the country. Now, I guess Georgia is in there with that too, but to me, it's the competition you have in practice, and it's the reps. As an offensive lineman, for me at least, I had to physically, when you're doing stunts, and when you're doing blitz pickup and that kind of stuff, which is a big part in passing off stunts, is just the timing and just the punch you need for a TE stunt or an ET stunt. I had to physically do that, or else the guy would slip underneath me and he would pick the tackle off the defensive end, like little would come around, wide open and get a sack or something. But for me, I don't think there's enough physicality in practice for offensive linemen. Yeah. I think they still need a session where they go out there with pads on and do blitz drill or something, or stunt drill. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think, and that I got to say, Mike McDonald, the new head coach, did you get a chance to meet him when you were here, Chris?
I did, yeah, just for a few seconds. I know he's a Georgia guy.
Oh, okay, yeah, and he is very old school, and he says that all the time. But do you see players coming out of college, like it seems like nobody's in a 3-point stance, hardly ever, quarterback under center. And do you see that has it kind of gotten harder, do you think? And now, like you mentioned, you add on the fact that you can't have padded practice and go full speed. I mean, do you think that's kind of what's setting players back as far as offensive line play goes?
I think it is, yeah. For me, defensive guys, I think it doesn't matter what they run into, but they get the feel running into pads and holding pads with the other defensive linemen. They still get a physical feel of pushing somebody up the field and slipping and that kind of stuff. But offensive linemen, you got to be on the same page, same level. If you get on different levels, I mean, it's almost impossible to pick up stunts. Yeah. So it's I think the physical part, there needs to be a part in there for offensive linemen to work that kind of stuff out. But that, like Alabama, just when Nick Saban was there, and the new coach is good as well. But I mean, heck, the practices they had, their second team, the first team was going against was, starter quality that could play anywhere else. So they were going against, good players in practice all day long. So they got full. So they're one of the better teams as far as offensive line. So many offensive linemen come out of Alabama the last few years. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I'm guessing you're gonna make your way up here. And for the celebration, is there anybody that on that list that you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see that guy? Or are you regularly in touch with your offensive line? Tell us how your connections are with those guys you play with.
No, I still I call Walt every once in a while. He lives down in Florida now, and then Tobeck just moved down to Florida as well, and Hutch is in Nashville. We were on the text thread, so somebody will send something stupid, and we all kind of jump in and start dogging somebody out. But we stay in touch. We do, and the plan was, I guess, a year ago. We all met out there a year ago. Was we were going to start taking some trips and doing stuff together. It hasn't come to fruition yet, but I'm still waiting on. I guess Tobeck was moving, Walt was moving, so maybe this year. Yeah. Once we get together, we'll make that happen. Take a trip somewhere. I don't know if we go on Robbie's boat, go down to Tampa and spend time down there, or who knows. But those are the guys I look forward to seeing. Hasselback, and the offensive lineman. So,
well, Chris, congratulations on being named one of the 50 greatest to ever put on a Seahawks uniform. That's quite an honor. Well, it's well-deserved, and it's an honor to speak with you. Thanks so much for taking time with us.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
There you go. Chris Gray, legend, Seahawks legend, a legendary O-line. Back then, they weren't complaining about the O-line, fans were.
No, they were not.
I don't know what they were complaining about, but it wasn't the O-line.
Yeah, what would we have? We'd have to do shorter shows.
Yeah, I don't know. What would the complaints about the 05 team have been?
Yeah, probably defensively. Yeah, I mean, and they were really good on defense. I mean, I don't think that they were, off the charts as far as the numbers go, but, you had Lofa making plays all over the place. I mean, I remember, that the game in Philly that year, I think that was the year they went to the Super Bowl, where it was a Monday night game, and he picked off a pass for a touchdown, and then they got a bunch of takeaways in that game. So I think that the defense probably wasn't, but you were built up to have such a great, and I remember what a great play caller Holmgren was. Mike Holmgren was like an artist, man. I remember one time watching him on a grease board, just drawing plays up, and it was like watching somebody paint. You know, I mean, he was just incredible from that standpoint. Loved Mike. I mean, he's one of the more intimidating guys, and he could get after people. Yeah. I think Cortez called him that.
Is he the one that named him that?
Yeah.
The Big Show?
Big Show, yeah. But,
Who were the receivers on that team?
Bobby Ingram, I think, and then was D-Jack, I believe, on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember...
was it Jeremy Stevens on that team, too?
Yeah. He was a good tight end, and he was actually a go-to guy. If you had to do an interview.
Oh, yeah.
It was Matt Hasselbeck, Max Strong, or
Jeremy Stevens. Yeah, he was a good interview. He always came off so polite and nice, and then off the field, left to his own devices, things got a little dark.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I would say Lofa, but he was just a young punk.
Just
rookie.
a punk. You weren't talking to him. You're like, what am I going to learn from this guy?
No, I learned plenty from that guy, man. He is amazing. So, yeah, it's going to be cool to see all these guys getting together, and yeah, I can't wait, man. I hope I get a chance to like talk to it's going to be during a game, and I'm going to be doing the broadcast, but a lot of times they have like
go down there at halftime or something.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you have those alumni things going on, and I don't get a chance to go and, talk to guys because we're going.
Because you got to hang out with Rabel and
yeah.
hold his hand through the whole
Exactly.
broadcast. Jeez.
Yeah.
Guy will end up calling a game for a different team. He doesn't know what's going on. I'm kidding. No, it's a cool thing. First of all, the whole 50 greatest is a cool thing that the Seahawks did. I'm certain there are going to be people that felt like they should have been part of it, weren't part of it, or should have won, didn't win. I still think it's weird they didn't. There's no tight end.
Yeah.
It's probably because what we talked about, that it just has never been a big position in terms of production and longevity for this team. It just has not. The greatest tight end statistically, Jimmy Graham.
Yep.
So
you are correct, sir.
It's a weird. Yeah. And he's a guy that is beyond polarizing with the fan base. Yet he's your all-time leader, and as far as tight ends go. So they did not select a tight end as part of their 50 all-time greatest.
Yeah. The thing that cracks me up is listening to the guys talk about how they still give each other crap.
Oh, yeah.
And
he thought Robbie was playing a joke on him when.
Right. But, he talked about the water. So what guys would do, because you put your pads up top on top of your locker most of the time anyway. However it's designed, and, they would find a way to, like, put a couple of water cups up there. And then, when you pull down
the water
pads,
would come down.
You get doused. So, but yeah, I mentioned the powder in my pockets. And
Did you find out who did it?
No, I had no idea. No, you know what? I think it was Carl Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg was always.
Oh, this was when you were in Denver.
Yeah, when I was in Denver.
I was going to blame Moyer. But.
Yeah. But I remember watching. I remember the young linebackers in Denver, and they were the same way. I mean, there was 3 guys, and they were all about the same age. And I remember one of them had a pizza, and he was sitting there at his locker and eating it. And one of the other linebackers took off his dirty, smelly jock strap and just slapped it on top of his pizza.
Oh. That would be poorly received.
And the guy was like, there was no fight or anything. It was just like, oh, you got me, or there was always just stupid things like that. Like, you never grow up in the NFL.
Now, here's the question. Would you have finished the pizza?
Oh, good God, no. Especially considering who it was. I won't say.
But so it was based on who actually did it, not just the fact that it was a jockstrap that had been worn.
But it was a certain person's jockstrap.
So there could have been a guy you looked at as one of the clean guys on the team. If he did
it was
that,
Elway,
you would have eaten around it. You would have said, well, I think it just hit that part, so I won't eat that.
I'm sorry.
Part.
That pizza would go bye-bye. But, I mean, those kinds of things were just tolerated, and it was something that you did. But I like that they still give each other crap.
Yeah.
Because he said when somebody texts something stupid,
yeah,
we all respond. But that's the beauty of, and I've noticed that like with my teammates, that you just go back to that time.
Yeah.
Like it's like we haven't been apart. You start talking to them, and it's like we were at practice yesterday.
Yeah, you'll come up with all the dumb jokes, and you'll be immature, and it's fun.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, if you missed any part of the show, you missed the Chris Gray conversation or any part of the show, you can go check it out on our Wyman and Bob channel on the Seattle Sports YouTube page. You can search Seattle Sports, search Wyman and Bob, search Bob Stelton on all social media platforms like Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads. We're on all of there. You can find all the conversations with players, Seahawks players, Mariners players. It's all there. It's all free. That's the beauty of all of it. So go check that out. Meanwhile, what has Jeff Passan thought about Julio and Cal this season? We're going to hear what he had to say on those guys. That's coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Tonight,
Logan looks in. Here's the stretch.
the Mariners send Logan Gilbert to the mound as the M's look for their third win in their last 4 games.
The 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
Mariners, Royals.
Go down swinging.
First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you to pregame at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Need a new roof, a deck, siding, windows? Get up to $3,000 off any new installation. Hi, it's Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Home projects can add up fast, but we're here to help you save big. Book now and lock in up to $3,000 off in savings. That's $3,000 off any new installation. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate today. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
21 days until Seahawks training camp. And Seahawks training camp lives on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain and and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Hold up a sec. If I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit Earnin.com for full details.
It's the Graz here for my friends at Premier Golf. Take advantage of early sunrise and late sunset at the 11 different Premier courses today. From Bellingham, Everett, and Marysville to Linwood, Bellevue, and Seattle, even out on the coast, they've got a course near you. Play Inner Bay or Jackson, Bill Wright or West Seattle, Bellevue, Legion Memorial, Walter Hall, Linwood, Cedar Crest, Lake Patton, and even Ocean Shores. Courses are in great shape and ready for your next round. Visit PremierGolfCenters.com. That's PremierGolfCenters.com and book your tee time today.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Our thanks once again to Chris Gray, who joined us in the previous segment, one of the 50 greatest Seahawks of all time. So if you guys missed that conversation, you'll be able to find it on the podcast page after the show at seattlesports.com. Meanwhile, Jeff Passan on with Brock and Salk today, talking about a few different things as it pertains to this Mariner team and talking about Cal and just what he's doing and how unprecedented it is.
Yeah, it's an unprecedented first half for a catcher. And unprecedented is not a word that means it's been done a few times or, it is done once a decade. No, this is like a game, guys, that has been around for 150 years. And Cal Raleigh is doing things that no catcher has done before him. And I think it's pretty awesome to see.
That you got to love the baseball stats, by the way. What was the one yesterday? 1939, the last time a person had with
a grand slam and an inside the park home run.
Home run. Like, how do you have a record of that in 1939?
And they find those numbers so quickly.
Yeah.
Like within a broadcast. Like the last time somebody did this, it was Chippy McGee out there, and he did it in 1904. And it's like, where did you find that quickly?
Yeah, but like you said, it's it hasn't been done before. So it's pretty amazing. Looking at Cal and just I think we all freak out. He went 0 for 4 because he practiced the home run derby. But
yeah, I think 0 for 4 would be one thing. I think the fact that it was 4 strikeouts, the Golden Sombrero, that was a little like, all right, maybe his timing did get thrown off that day because he was swinging at 45-mile-an-hour pitches from his dad, working on the home run derby. So maybe his timing was a bit off.
I wonder if there are people that are really pissed about it, and they really are, not mad at Cal.
I figure they'd be checking in here if they were. We tend to hear from the most angry of people.
Right. But I mean, either way, I'm just like, he's gonna do it, man, and it's such a cool thing. By the way, I think he said that his little brother is like as tall as he is, or even taller.
I think he said he was taller. He was telling us that in spring training.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to brag on his brother.
I love it.
He's proud of him.
He's a good big brother.
Yeah. Passan went on to talk about just being excited for Cal to get that spotlight that he's going to get at that home run derby and the All-Star game.
I'm just excited that the rest of the country, those who maybe haven't understood what Cal Raleigh has done in this half, are going to hear about it all weekend and all week at the All-Star game. Like, this is going to be, I'm not going to say coming out party nationally because, social media does its thing, and I think baseball fans know who Cal Raleigh is. You see it in the All-Star vote, like he's going to be the starter at catcher. All of those things are great, but it's really just going to be a chance to get a spotlight on him in the Derby, starting in the game and likely batting among the top 4, in this absolutely stacked lineup that the American League's going to have, and getting flowers that are much deserved.
Yeah, it'll be a cool experience. And, part of that interview that Shannon did with Cal and his dad talked about him watching all the home run derbies and isolating his favorite one. I can't remember which year he was pointing to, but, something that means a lot to him, something as a kid coming up, he loved to watch. And now he gets to be a part of it. He's a participant, which is really cool. So it's kind of cool to see a dream come true for him and him to be able to participate. It'd be amazing if he won, but just him being a part of it is cool. And the fact that he's got his dad throwing to him and his brother catching for him is even cooler.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also you kind of get a chance to reflect on, what he has been. I remember in the very beginning we were like, oh, well, this guy doesn't have a lot of words. And, if you'd have said 4 years from now you're going to be doing, a weekly show and you're going to be on I don't know if the Pat McAfee show existed back then, but
let's not prop that up as the top of the media mountaintop.
Yeah.
Okay.
he seemed like he really liked those guys. Honestly,
maybe he did.
But that's Cal, right?
Yeah. He seems like he was talking to Brock and Salk and he said something nice to them. He didn't mean it, but it was he was talking about and all you guys are great, and he didn't mean them. But he's nice to everybody. Yeah. He's nice to everybody. Now, the other side of this is the other guy you look at is the potential superstar, and we've seen versions of him that look like a superstar, but Julio hasn't been that yet. And Jeff Passan talking about how interesting it is to look at Julio's last 7 days every week because they're always different.
And it's interesting to look at the last 7 days of Julio Rodriguez every week because they are never the same.
Right.
Some weeks he has great power and struggles to get on base. Some weeks he's got a high batting average but a low slugging percentage. Some weeks his wins above replacement are lofted up there because of his defense. And I think what we've seen with Julio, and the reason that we can't put our thumb on who is Julio Rodriguez, is because we've never seen that consistent version of him that's doing the same thing week in, week out. And it's not like an inconsistency where you have like these valleys, these nadirs, and then these absolute huge peaks. It's usually just somewhere in the realm of, yeah, he was good this week.
Except that he has had those huge peaks.
Yeah,
we've seen it. And he has had those valleys, so I'm going to disagree with him on that. If he's talking about this season in particular, okay, but that's been the story of his career.
Yeah,
he's red hot, looks like the best player in baseball, hitting everything. Then he's ice cold. He's swinging out of his shoes. He's falling over the plate. He's chasing everything off the plate. He can't get around on the fastball. I mean, you see the extremes, and that's been the story of his career.
Yeah, I love going to Pro Baseball Reference and picking and choosing games from his career. And, you can highlight it and get what his numbers are. And from last year, 45 games. And this was, what was this? Looked like it was somewhere between, it was in July, basically. So 45 games. 322 batting average, on base 382. He had 33 RBIs, 11 home runs. This is in 45 games. And, he stole bags. He had 5 stolen bases. And, yeah, he struck out 47 times in 45 games. But, those numbers, that's kind of – and that was a sustained period.
Yeah.
And this is a month and a half, basically.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so we know that he can do that. But like he said, and, this year it's been kind of like you get one or the other.
Yeah. He talked about how it'll be interesting to see which version of Julio the Mariners get in August because they reach their peak when he does.
It's going to be interesting come August and September, and hopefully for the Mariners October, to see which of those goods that the Mariners get, and particularly whether they are what the Mariners need in those moments, because there are going to be some weeks like this week where Randy Arozarena is going off. And when you have that protection behind Cal, when you have that power in the lineup, it goes a long way, and Julio doesn't necessarily need to provide it. But, yeah, the Mariners reach their peak when Julio Rodriguez reaches his.
Yeah, and then just one more from him. Just what does he think Julio's biggest problem is in trying to find that offensive consistency?
I think ultimately it probably goes back to the plate discipline. I mean, like over the last 7, he has not walked, right? And so we'll see those weeks where it's like, Julio's going to be at his best when he does something that he's never done before, and that something is like a 350 plus on base percentage. If he can get there and get a little more power, he's in the MVP conversation because the defense in center field is so good.
Yeah, we've seen it all. We've seen him do it. Yeah. It's not a matter of if, but when is it going to kick in?
Right.
So it's and I think that's why he becomes so polarizing, or people are so, have such strong opinions, because you get teased by it. You've seen the greatness in him, but he's got to sustain it. He's got to be able to find it and then hang on to it. And again, not saying he can't ever be in a slump or he's going to be that guy from April through September into October. There are going to be down periods, but he's just so uneven, and he's capable of so much more. And that's what makes it frustrating, because you've seen him do so much more rather than beating the ball into the ground, hitting singles.
Yeah.
So, all right, coming up, what if Cal does have a slump in the second half of the season? We'll talk about that in What If Wednesday. That is coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
We've got some breaking news.
And the next offer on the way to Cal, swinging a drive, deep to right field.
Big Dumper is in the Derby.
Goodbye, baseball.
If you're going to get tossed meatballs and stuff, all you got to do is connect. You have enough power. You got a big dumper. That ball is going to travel.
What would happen if you switched Cal and Judge? Like, what if Cal was doing this for the Yankees and Judge was doing this for the Mariners? Who's the MVP then?
Hear Cal Raleigh in the Home Run Derby Monday, July 14th, right here on Seattle Sports.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and we've been talking about this. Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. You can book now for an unforgettable summer experience because the hotel opens up August 8th. Bookings are open at snocasino.com starting on August 8th. The expanded non-gaming floor, the destination spa, the big new entertainment space and convention center, new restaurants as well. They're combining effortless style with the utmost in relaxation. Go to snocasino.com for details. Seattle's closest, now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
You gotta dip your chicken strips. Hey, this is Kiani.
And this is Tabitha.
And a little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips
is all the different sauces we can dip them in. I like to line up all my favorite sauces so that in every bite, I have a different flavor. Then with the tenderness of the chicken, the juiciness of it, it's all there.
And for me, I like to mix my sauces so I get a little tang and I get a little sweetness all in one bite.
That's what makes it for me. Like, that's what does it for me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
Dayandnight.net.
The old throne's not too well, and ooh, does it smell?
Dayandnight.net.
Slow drains, backed up toilet, is your main drain or sewer clogged? Hi, I'm Bruce, General Manager of Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Over the past 70 years, I think we've seen every drain clog out there. If your pipes aren't draining from a small fix to a major repair, our sewer and camera inspection will show exactly where the problem is. I promise you, our experienced technicians will find the issue, the right solution, and do it at a fair price. Give us a call or visit
Dayandnight.net.
I guarantee whether Day and Night is your first choice or your smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
If you have a drain that's slow or clogged, call Day and Night. Now you'll save $50 off any drain cleaning. Slow or clogged drains? You know where to go.
dayandnight.net.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
The home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Cal swinging a drive deep to right field.
Every pitch of every Mariners game is on the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. We've been fortunate to work with over 4,000 local people and help them hit some pretty amazing weight loss goals. I'm joined by two of them right now, Mike Salk and Ryan Rowland-Smith. Ryan, every time I see you on TV, I'm even more proud of all you've accomplished on the plan.
I'm so happy. For years, I've been trying to find a consistent plan that delivered results with my busy family and work schedule. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic not only delivered, but it was an absolute breeze. It was so enjoyable because the plan wasn't hard. I was able to eat delicious food, and I literally lost weight every single day.
Eastside Weight Loss Clinic works so well for me. I'm happy to hear more people are using it to lose weight and prioritize their health as well. It's an awesome plan. Schedule a free 50-minute consultation today. Go to eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
No surgery, no exercise, no packaged meals, no drugs or injections. Just delicious food and a plan that works. Schedule a free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with zero investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
What? It's time for What If Wednesday.
Coach would have put me in fourth quarter. We'd have been state champions, no doubt.
Wyman and Bob rewrite the scripts of major moves and moments in sports every Wednesday afternoon. Now step into an alternative reality with Wyman and Bob.
It is What If Wednesday, presented by Mazda of Everett. And today's What If question, Dave. What if Cal does have a post-home run derby slump? Are we going to get a parade of text, people going, I told you. Told you, don't let him do it.
Oh, certainly that.
Yeah.
No question. Even if they said before that he should do it.
How would you view his season? Let's say he hits 34, which would tie. I mean, it's amazing. He's one away from his career high in home runs. He needs just one more to match his total from last season. But let's just say he hits, I don't know, 46. I'm just throwing out a number, which would be a career high by 12. Right. 12 more than he ever hit, but it wouldn't be at the pace he's on now, certainly. Would we look at this season as, it was good. It was not as good as it could have been. Too bad he was in that home run derby.
That's just too cruel, I think, to happen to Cal. I mean, this is kind of like a story.
Does it stain the magic of the season we're all talking? We've never seen a catcher do anything like this. And then if he slows down in the second half to that point, do we then at the end of the season go, yeah, it was a great season, but it wasn't historic and it didn't ultimately live up to what it was gonna be?
Yeah, that just wouldn't be fair. The baseball gods wouldn't let that happen, right? I mean, because this is such a, like I said, storybook type of story. I mean, he's a guy that, we talked about in 2021 when he was so quiet, but also he got sent down, right?
Yeah.
And
if not for Tom Murphy getting hurt, he's down there longer than he was. I mean, I don't even think he was down a week.
Right.
He got sent down. It was like a couple days later, Murphy got hurt and they called him back up.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, also, we always talk about what a great dude Cal is, but they've got it going in Major League Baseball right now because Aaron Judge, by all accounts, is just a gem of a person, and same thing with Shohei. And so I don't know. It just seems like I would hate to see him be one of those cautionary tales, because then you would go from how do you feel about him? Oh man, if he hadn't, and everybody would go back to that, but like. Come on, man. It's your brother behind the plate. Your dad's throwing you pitches. I mean, this is a little kid's dream. I mean, how can you opt out of it? There's just no way.
I don't look. I like I said before, I expect that the pace will slow in the second half, and it'll have nothing to do with the home run derby. It'll have everything to do with being a catcher in a 162-game season and playing in the heat of the summer and just the wear and tear that eventually could catch up with him to a point where, all right, the production's not going to match what he was doing. I mean, he's on just a ridiculous pace. So it just makes sense that it's going to slow down a bit. So I'm not going to go, well, home run derby. No, I think if he didn't, hypothetically, he doesn't make the All-Star team, he's not in the home run derby, but for whatever reason, he's got these numbers, but he didn't make it. I would still expect some level of regression in the second half.
Yeah.
But maybe it won't happen. I would listen. I'm there for it. If he doesn't, he continues at this pace, I'm going to be his biggest cheerleader. But I'm just trying to be realistic about what to expect. Well, and he needs some help. More importantly, we can't count on him having that second half. We can't count on this pace being who he is through the rest of the season. And if he does that, then they make the playoffs. You're in a bad spot. If you need him to continue this pace through the end of September, you're in a bad spot. If that's the only way you feel like you can get to the playoffs, that means the rest of this lineup is not doing their job, and he's not getting support. So you need a Rosarena to kick in the way he has lately, and hopefully that continues. You need Julio to get it going. You need JP. You need Rayleigh. It's certainly more than just Julio and Cal. You need these guys to kick in, and it's not going to be every night, and they're going to take offers, and they're going to strike out, and blah blah blah. But they've got to be more consistent than they've been. And speaking specifically of Julio and a Rosarena.
Yeah, and see, I would think at the end of the year, if he does, slow down, let's say, by 50%, let's say he hits, like you said, or let's say 48 to 50 or whatever. That could be the reason as much as anything, right? That he's just not getting help. And so, he's like, okay.
Maybe they're going to walk him more. They're not going to pitch. He's not going to get the pitches to hit. I mean, if there are no other threats around him,
right?
Why are you pitching to him?
Right.
I wouldn't. I'd be telling my starter, look, get him to chase, but it'll be an intentional walk, right? Just don't throw him anything near the plate. See if you can get him to chase.
Yeah.
Get him to foul the ball off, strike him out.
And you do that, and you wipe out their only offensive threat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you could see the strikeouts increase in that way. Yeah, there's lots of ways that they can do it. I would hate to see it come back to that. And we've been spending so much time, talking about that. I mean, we haven't really talked about, do you think he's going to win?
Win the Derby?
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a tough one to tell how guys are going to respond. We've seen some tremendous home run hitters go out there and really struggle.
Yeah.
They're hitting line drives, they're hitting ball, but they're not hitting them out, and you can see the urgency to it. I think who was it one year that was it Piazza? I can't remember. Somebody who just was on a tear, and they just could not get the ball out of there. They were just line drive, couldn't lift it out of there. It was just a dreadful showing. And I think as the time is ticking, I think that it's a different pressure, right? If you don't get off to a good start and that clock is ticking and you have yet to hit a home run, you start pressing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm sure there are odds on it. I'm guessing Judge would be the favorite, even though Cal's got the home run lead.
Yeah,
maybe just because he's been there and he's done it, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch, though. I can't wait to see it.
Well, I hate that that's such a cool thing, and that he goes 0 for 4 the next day or that very day, and I start thinking is there a way that he could do that where nobody could see? I mean, is there a way to maybe just go to the park when other people aren't there and away from cameras? And
it's
video
not a story.
Because
it became too convenient. And I do think there could be a connection to it because, again, he's talked about being how exhausting it was. And more importantly, maybe it impacted his timing that day. Because I don't know how many pitches his dad threw to. I don't know how long he was out there.
I think he went the 3 minutes, right? Isn't that what it is?
But I don't know. Did he do it multiple times? Did he just do it one time? So I could easily see his timing being thrown off because he's just getting used to seeing his dad throw the ball. Like I said, I don't know, 48 miles an hour or something. Just right. So if he's just getting in tune to that, and then he steps into the box against these guys, and look, he took batting practice and everything, but they're not firing the ball in there either. Yeah. So. Yeah, maybe his timing was a little off yesterday. Yeah. 0 for 4 is one thing. It was more that it was
the strikeouts.
4 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So that made it feel a little bit worse. Meanwhile, there's only one man who can tell us about the Kraken's draft pick and the Mariners trade deadline needs. That's Jon Morosi. He's going to join us next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
If you haven't subscribed to Seattle Sports on YouTube,
it's amazing. We just got to keep hammering it home.
You're missing part of the game.
The rest is history.
There's so much more than what happens on the field.
This is the place I love.
Subscribe now for in-depth inside information with Brock and Salk.
The Mariners' hit rate was way higher than that.
Bump and Stacy.
Cal's like a coach out there.
Wyman and Bob.
One day, breaking that record would be pretty cool.
Stream it live with the local sports leader on YouTube, Seattle Sports.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-372-2017. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-372-2017. 800-372-2017. 800-372-2017.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. and that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in a parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The countdown is on.
21 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, the Mariners looking to get back in the win column as they dropped Game 2 to the Royals last night, but they look to correct that by sending Logan Gilbert to the hill tonight in Game 3. You can catch it all starting at 5:30 with the pregame show right here. 6:40 first pitch, Seattle Sports on 710. Taking a look at some of the finals from earlier today. The Rays beat the A's 6-5. It was the Cardinals being shut out by the Pirates 5-0. Game 1 of a doubleheader, Padres take out the Phillies 6-4. Also game 1 of a doubleheader, Tigers hammer the Nationals 11-2. And another game 1 of a doubleheader, the Brewers 7-2 over the Mets. Lots of rainouts being made up. Games going on right now. Padres and Phillies in game 2. Padres out to a 1-0 lead in the top of the 4th. Top of the 2nd, Twins over the Marlins 1-0. Bottom of the 1st, no score between the Nationals and the Tigers. Yankees on the road to take on the Blue Jays. Red Sox playing host to the Reds. And the Mets and Brewers game 2 getting underway in about 10 minutes.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
I've never heard a person walk out of the stadium and say, wow, I wish that game would have included more weighting.
He is an endless source of baseball and hockey knowledge.
José Berríos, el lanzador de Puerto Rico en el Clásico Mundial de Béisbol.
Jon Morosi, every week with Wyman and Bob.
You're being serious with me right now?
He's here, everybody. We look forward to this conversation each and every week. Our own personal ray of sunshine talking
there
baseball. Look at it. He's already just smiling ear to ear. I just can't imagine this guy ever angry. The one, the only Jon Morosi is with us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. How are you, man?
Outstanding, my friends. Happy early 4th of July. Happy belated Canada Day to our listeners up in the lower mainland across the border there as you drive up. By the way, that's I love I've driven past the Peace Arch there before. Beautiful drive to Vancouver. So it is now I'm thinking, guys, that basically 1 year from right now, the two closest together best places to watch World Cup soccer will be Vancouver and Seattle. So I probably should just move out to Seattle for the summer.
You should.
It's the most gorgeous place to be in North America in the summertime anyway. You'll have the World Cup there. Seattle's going to do a phenomenal job of hosting the big event. So I think I should just be out there for the summer.
You should.
We got a killer guest room at our place.
Hey, just so I might take you up on that. And just remember this though. We travel heavy. We, the Morosi family. So it's me and then my wife and our 3 girls. So it's all of us. And it's amazing how we have progressively gotten louder and louder and louder. I thought that as a family that we were already fairly animated, but my goodness, we get louder by the day. I'm
Dave's
cool with
regretting that offer right now.
Yes,
Like,
so
first
just,
of all, I didn't know there were 5 of you.
Yeah, there's 5 of us. You know,
5
we
loud
tend-
people.
5, and again, I am in many ways probably the most subdued member of the family. So just keep that in mind.
JP, do you ever lose your temper? Do you ever just start throwing expletives out and like, son of a bleeping, I can't believe this idiot. This is uncalled. I can't
daily.
picture you just losing your mind.
So this is a very good question. I'm thinking about the appropriate way to answer it. I would say this: the thing I try to not get upset by many things at all, but the one thing that will really, and I try to limit the amount of times that I sort of announce this to the kids, because I try to remind myself. Young people, the prefrontal cortex still developing, the ability to make decisions and properly process things actually doesn't even finish doing that process of growing up till we're like 25 years old. So it takes a while. So kids, the kid descriptor goes on for a while. But the one thing that really kind of will always upset me is when I feel like there is a lack of gratitude or sort of respect being given for the blessings that one has. So basically, today I'll pull back the curtain. One of my daughters did not like the camp that I had selected for her for next week.
Oh.
And I said, basically, did we not just get back from Italy? Can you give me like 2 weeks of grace here to where, don't I get a little bit of a grace period where dad's camp choices are not going to be second guessed? I don't know, kid. You had your feet in the Turanian Sea last week at this time. Can I get a week here, okay? And just say, you know what, Dad? I realize you put some thought into this. Thank you for this choice.
Yeah. They'll appreciate it when they're older. They'll go, I can't believe I was upset about camp. We went to Italy.
We went to Italy, exactly. And so, but you know what? There have also been times where like this will be the dialogue, and then again, same kid, Gabby, our oldest, like her end of 5th grade like journal about my family. It's like, I go to my dad for advice, and I appreciate his wisdom. So she'll write that in the school assignment. It's like, oh, what a sweet kid. Yeah. And then in the moment, it's like, Dad, I don't like this camp, and I'm gonna then, and here goes. I'm like, sweetheart, I'm trying to have a conversation on the phone with like the baseball coach from Oklahoma, and here you are in the background. I don't like this camp. I mean, guys, I am no different than any other dad, right? Like I just can't. I can't win.
It.
I at times, the number of times I'm like, yeah. So tell me about your pitcher, and then I have to put the phone on mute. Could you leave me alone for 10 minutes, please? Okay, unmute. Yeah, coach, it's a great point. I've been impressed by his slider too. I mean, listen, I am no cooler than anybody else. I can assure you of that.
He's human, Dave. He's human. I can't believe it.
The nicest way of putting that, though.
Oh yeah,
I think is.
Oh my gosh.
Something.
Well,
I
it
learned
doesn't.
from.
Every. I mean, we'd all like to be perfectly calm all the time, but I also try to remind everybody we're all human. Listen, we're all just doing our best.
I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, your mom and I, we're just people. Okay,
we're people. Exactly. Just trying to bring that there. But you're right, and I appreciate the support. I feel like this was a good therapy session here on live radio.
It was good,
which I appreciate. Thank you.
So, John, how do we feel about this Mariner team as we get closer? This feels like a very crucial homestand. Looking at the Royals for 4 games, the Pirates for 3. Before you hit the road to face the Yankees and the Tigers, who are arguably the 2 best teams in the American League. So to me, I'm looking at it going, you got to make hay here. You got to cling to that 3rd wild card spot like grim death. You don't let that go. It's a 1.5 game lead right now after you lost last night. It's a 7-game gap behind the Astros. So I'm not saying the AL West is out of the question, but maybe the more realistic path is that wild card spot. So you got to hang on to it, which means you win these series. You take 3 of 4 from the Royals. You take 2 of 3 from the Pirates. Is that expecting too much of this club? Is that with as uneven as they've been? How do you view it?
No, it's exactly what they need to do. Listen, I'll begin my State of the Mariners statement with the following: that you need to make the playoffs in the American League in 2025. It is all there for you. The Boston Red Sox are a non-factor right now, and you should be able to finish comfortably ahead of the Los Angeles Angels. I mean, if we're really being honest here, when you look at this team, you've got one of the two best players in the world right now, in Cal, in terms of everything that he's doing, and then your rotation is coming back together. Gilbert on the mound tonight. You need to win this series, and then you need to win the next series, and then you really need to play competitively. And by the way, take advantage of what has been a slumping Yankees team.
Yeah.
So if we're being honest here, the Astros, they continue to defy gravity. What they're doing, it's unbelievable, honestly. But now helped by Hunter Brown, best ERA in Major League Baseball right now, by the way. sub-2. He's been unbelievable. So there are reasons why they're still really good.
Right.
But the important thing is the Seattle Mariners absolutely, without question, should be, need to be, are, in terms of the players on the field, one of the 6 best teams in the American League this season, period. And they just have to play like it. That's it. And playing like it means you win the series against the Royals, you win the series against the Pirates, and listen, the Tigers aren't going to be this hot forever. By the time you play them, you should be able to get some games off them. That's what I see. So I think it's this team. I think Canzona's given them a boost. I think that's been a really big piece of the puzzle. But eventually, they need to make a move for a bat. And I said this week on MLB Network, I think Eugenio Suarez to the Mariners is as obvious of a fit as there is, in my opinion, in baseball in terms of a trade. He's been there before. He's had success there. He's having a great year for a team that's probably not going to be a buyer. That's the kind of move you need to make. And we have seen, by the way, the Diamondbacks and Mariners make $1 billion deals in the past. So we know their front offices work well together. Again, it's easy for me to say here, sitting here on July the 2nd, but that's the trade that probably should happen between now and July 31st.
Yeah, I heard Bump and Stacy, the show before us. I thought Bump brought up a great point that what's that do to Ben Williamson? You know, if you do bring in Suarez and everybody, I mean, we love Eugenio. I mean, just a gem. He's got a great arm. He's crushing it right now. But as far as Ben Williamson goes, what do you think that does to sort of curb his development?
It's a fair question, but if being sent down to the minor leagues once is going to totally disrupt your trajectory, then I've got questions about your overall potential at the end of the day. I mean, being sent back down to the minor leagues, I realize it's not great, but Francisco Alvarez has been sent down to the minor leagues. Josh Young was just sent back down to the minor leagues. I mean, this Roy Halladay years ago was sent to the minor leagues. Max Scherzer, I was covering the Tigers when Max Scherzer was sent back down to the minor leagues. So this happens. And if that's the way it goes, at the end of the day, a team that's going to be able to beat the Tigers in a playoff series or beat the Yankees in a playoff series, there are certain things that you look at about a team that need to be true. Your third baseman has to be able to hit more than 1 or 2 home runs in a season and bat higher than probably 9th. That's it. And it doesn't mean that he's not ever going to be the third baseman of the Mariners. When I was talking to the Mariner folks in spring training, I said, man, Williams has really come on and hit. He actually probably has arrived a little sooner than expected. So there's no shame in, again, if a dude who comes in and hits 30 home runs a year and Suarez comes in, there's no shame in going back down to the minor leagues, getting retooled and coming back, and then making an impact later on in the year. Matt Shaw, Cubs third baseman, made the opening day team, and basically 6 weeks later was back in the minor leagues. I mean, this is a tough business. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of different ways to organize your team and to make it work, and I get it. But it's rare that a team makes it to the World Series or wins a couple rounds of the playoffs getting fewer than 10 home runs out of the whole season at third base. It just doesn't happen very often. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it just is rare. And if that's the way your team is built, you're probably getting a ton of home runs somewhere else. And again, Julio is not doing that really for you right now in center field in terms of hitting the type of home run power we saw from him a couple years ago. So it would not be Ben Williamson's fault, but you have to get enough production to win games, and at a time of the year especially, the postseason becomes a bit of a home run strikeout kind of a game because of the power arms, and you better be able to elevate the ball, hit some home runs, and Suarez can do it, and Williamson right now, I'm not saying he won't ever do it, but right now it's just not happening.
Something that's gained a little steam out here is, one of our local writers, Adam Jude, wrote about the potential of Alex Bregman being traded by the Red Sox. Do you find any reality in that they could? I know he can opt out after this year, so the idea that he could, play elsewhere for the remainder of the season, he could go back and re-sign with the Red Sox on a new deal certainly after the season. But could you see them trying to pull something like that where they trade him, get some prospects, and then try to sign him in the offseason? Or is that not even realistic to you?
It's complicated. And I would say of the two guys we're talking about here, Suarez makes a ton more sense than Bregman. He just does. Now, Bregman, it has nothing to do with how I feel about the player, because I think Alex might be in the Hall of Fame one day. But he can opt out of his contract, and so that just intrinsically makes it more complicated. And baseball, unlike hockey and basketball, we rarely see the whole sign and trade thing happen. Sometimes it happens in this sport, but it's very rare. And so you've got the Red Sox saying, hey, you've got this great guy. He's basically a rental, but you can maybe bring him back if he wants to opt into the final 2 years. What a great offer and package this guy is. And the Mariners are saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to give you prospects with the expectation that I'm going to have him for 2 more years beyond this year without knowing that I'm going to have him for 2 more years. That just does not, the way that it's such a razor thin thing for teams now, how they evaluate prospects. They're so protective of them. For them to give those guys up without knowing exactly what you're getting back is, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but you're just asking for the needle to be thread backwards and forwards blindfolded in a way that I just think is too complicated, in my opinion. Now, could it still happen? Sure it could. But it's just a really complex transaction and a very expensive transaction because it is potentially a really large contract. It would have to be the right team that was willing to take on all the risk and go for it all in 2025 with very little of the potential down the road. I mean, this is almost like a New York Mets kind of a trade. That and again, the Mets, by the way, they have to focus on pitching. So the Red Sox being open-minded to listening on it, sure, 100% that makes sense. I just think that it's going to be too complicated to get it done when there are other options out there that are much cleaner and easier, which is what the contract of Suarez is. It's expiring and it's manageable.
Hey, JP, we've been talking quite a bit about, Cal Raleigh taking the practice home run derby and his dad, throwing the pitches and his brother catching and really cool. But then he goes 0 for 4, and as Bob pointed out, not just 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. Nobody's panicking here or anything like that, but any concern there? Or, I mean, it just raises a question, I think people love to talk about, apparently, because we've gotten lots of texts about it.
The darn home run derby jinx. It's I
Bobby
suppose
Abreu's coming back to haunt everybody.
That's right.
It's a thing if you want it to be, I suppose, right? And it has been a talk radio phenomenon. By the way, the Abreu one was 20 years ago. I was there. It was actually the first All-Star game I covered. It was 2005. Oh, wow. Back then for the Seattle PI bet, by the way. But
by the way, we do have just a quick breaking news. Cal Raleigh has earned the start in his first All-Star game. MLB just tweeted that out. So he is the starting catcher for the American League, officially.
Deserves it. Amazing news for Cal. And again, the part of, and this is, again, one of the reasons why I do give a tip of the cap to Aaron Judge, to Shohei, to those that are in the spotlight year after year after year after year. Where do they do the Derby every year? Maybe not, but they've got reporters 40 deep or 50 deep at the All-Star game every year. Yeah. This is, I'm not going to give some big speech on the price of fame, but this is kind of part of it. You're now one of the most talked about players in the sport. you're going to get invited to do stuff. And I think the one thing that makes it different for Cal, and I'm not sure how this is going to net out. I'm just saying it's different, not better words, different. He's a switch hitting catcher. And there's just not a lot of guys who do what he does and are that level of elite and are going to get asked to do the home run derby. I mean, Rutschman did it, obviously, in Seattle, but it's just switch hitting catchers with power. There's a reason why he's one of the most valuable people in the whole sport, and that's why. So, well-deserved for Cal. By the way, I love, Bob, the Rainiers hat. That is awesome. Cheney Stadium, love it. So that was that. Actually, one of the Tigers' new public relations executives, Colin, came from Tacoma. So we were standing on the field at Comerica Park a few weeks ago talking about the joy that is Cheney Stadium. So how about that? So Cheney Stadium has been talked about in Detroit here this season. But I love the Rainiers hat and wanted to make sure I acknowledge that.
Thank you. Hey, before we let you get out of here, we've got to ask you about hockey. I mean, there's a new draft pick for the Seattle Kraken. Difference maker, long-term project. How do you view what they've done so far?
Well, first of all, I got to say this, that they were able to make the big-time move of signing Ryan Lindgren, which I liked a lot. That was, to me, that was a really good move. You're bringing a defensive with some snarl, as they say it. So, longtime New York Ranger, former gold medalist with Team USA at the World Juniors. So I'm a big Ryan Lindgren fan. Jake O'Brien, he was a guy that I think was moving up the boards in a big way there during the course of the draft conversation. So he was a guy that was getting talked about a lot. I think in general, the Kraken, they're going to have to really work, I think, at changing a bit more of the identity of the team, as we talked about before. New coach, obviously, Lane Lambert. But I'm focusing a bit more on, I think, what they were able to do at the conversation with the free agency and bringing in Lindgren. And again, I think O'Brien was the right guy to get. Brantford Bulldogs, he was someone that was moving up, I think, in the boards a lot, and the hard worker, the Ontario kid. So love the pick there with O'Brien.
Can he have
and
an
Lindgren
impact
as well
out of the gate?
I don't think he'll make the opening night lineup. I think he probably does one more year at junior. I think to be in there year one, again, if he comes in and has he'll be in training camp. He'll have his chance. But I think that we've seen, talking about guys that stand up and down, Shane Wright, it takes a while, right?
Yeah.
And even Beniers, even when you have success, it takes a while. So I would think with O'Brien, they'll be a little more cautious. I would say he probably spends this year back in the OHL, maybe a chance to play as a 19-year-old, which will be the following season. That's the most likely thing. But if he comes in to camp and really surprises everybody, maybe he finds the way to Seattle a little bit earlier.
JP, you're the best, man. Wyman's going to get to soundproofing that guest room for your arrival for the Morosi clan, so they hear all the noise that you generate there. So that offer still stands should you guys need an extra place.
I'm planning on it. Seattle, Vancouver, summer of 26. We'll like print out the T-shirts. Summer. It's summer at Wyman's, and the whole thing. We'll like have the T-shirts made. With the Morosi family, you hear us before you see us. That's our motto. So there you go.
I love it. John, we appreciate you, man. You're the best.
Looking forward to it. Hey, happy 4th, guys. I really enjoyed the conversation. Have a great rest of the week.
There you go. Jon Morosi, everybody, with us each and every week. Always a great conversation. If you guys missed any part of it, you'll be able to find it on the podcast page at seattlesports.com. Just click the podcast tab. Scroll down to our picture, click on that, and you'll find it waiting for you right there. Good to know he could get mad at somebody.
That was awesome. I love it, and it brings me kind of to the point, like I was saying, that you tell your kids sometimes, I'm not a superhero, okay? I can't make things just magically appear.
It's just like he's like, we were just in Italy last week. You had your toes in the whatever sea that he threw out there.
Well,
now you're mad about the camp that I selected.
He's got to be the nicest dad ever.
I know. That's probably about as mad as he was. That's
Yeah.
probably the level of aggression he had, which was like more of a, can you give me a break?
But also, like every once in a while we'd run into these people that are just, oh, my kids are just this and that. And you're like, I don't want to hear that. You know, it's more like, you know, everybody has those problems. And, you know, just the way he expressed that he is a gem. That guy is, man.
Can you give Dad a break? Can I get a little grace here? You were just in Italy last week. Oh, I love it. Man. I love it. All right, coming up, well, we touched on this with JP, but is one of my most prominent targets about to get traded to my team? We're going to talk about that coming up next. It's Wyman and Bob. This is Seattle Sports on 710.
Tonight,
Logan looks in. Here's the stretch.
The Mariners send Logan Gilbert to the mound as the M's look for their third win in their last 4 games.
The 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
Mariners, Royals.
Go down swinging.
First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you to pregame at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Heading to the ball game? Don't mess with traffic and pricey parking fees. Make it easy and ride the bus. It's affordable and convenient. No stress, no hassle. And plenty of time to grab a hot dog before first pitch. Community Transit makes riding the bus fun, easy, and affordable. You save money on parking, and kids under 18 ride for free. See where they can take you and plan your trip today. Go to Community Transit at ctgo.org/home run.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it. I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce. Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more. I just took a COVID test. Ugh. Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
21 days until Seahawks training camp. And Seahawks training camp lives on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Wait, if I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Rick Riz here, and it's the final month to submit your nomination for Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Pella's owners are donating $5,000 to 2 local youth sports organizations. Many local teams are in need of new equipment, field improvements, or uniforms. If you know a team who could use funding, nominate them at seattlesports.com/play. Join Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington and help our local youth thrive. Go to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a team in need right now.
This hour is serviced by the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Wyman and Bob.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Our thanks to Jon Morosi, who joined us in the previous segment. In case you guys are just tuning in and missed that conversation, always fantastic stuff with Jon Morosi. One of the great people ever.
He is one of the nicest guys, but also gave us a little something we don't typically see from him.
Yeah, well, because before we even introduce him, we have him on the video screen, and as we're introducing him, he's just smiling ear to ear. He is just the most pleasant person ever.
Yeah.
And we asked him, do you ever get mad? Do you ever just lose it and bleepity bleep? And then he started talking about how his kids they have a little issue with gratitude at times. That was so funny. Very funny the way he put it. Definitely check that out if you missed it.
And he put it really nicely, too,
Oh, yeah.
actually. And like when he says, can you just leave me alone?
Yeah.
My kids used to call during the show all the time when they were teenagers. And I'm like, and I'd have a standard text that said, Dad is working every day during the week
at this time
between 2 and 6.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's but yeah, everybody gets frustrated with their kids, and that was just
so
awesome.
So good. Meanwhile, we brought this up with John, and this has gained a little traction because Adam Jude wrote about it in the Times, and Jim Bowden wrote about it in his column in The Athletic, and talking about a trade deadline prediction, sort of linked to the Mariners. Alex Bregman, who's currently the third baseman for the Red Sox, who's been out of the lineup for, 2 months? He's still not back.
He should be back in the next probably 3 or so weeks. He's running full speed now. It was a quad pull that he's dealt with before, and
he's got a history of it.
Yeah.
He's been out of the lineup for a long time. But either way, so here's the quote from Jim Bowden. He says, "There was another shocking name to me, but some execs believe the Red Sox could move on from Bregman at the trade deadline if they can't extend him by then. Bregman and his agent, Scott Boras, have told the Red Sox they're open to signing a long-term extension now, but if the two sides can't work out a deal, don't be surprised if Boston trades him to either the Tigers or the Mariners at the trade deadline."
How about that?
So that was, and Jude wrote about it, just kind of speculating on the possibility of it. And look, as much as I've talked about him having a punchable face, which he most certainly does, and he is a big part of the whole cheating scandal with the Astros, and the way he handled it is really what sort of set me off, because he was just very smug when asked about it, kind of smiling like, I guess we're sorry. It was just, I hate the way they handled it was almost worse than the infraction. I think that's why it's lingered so long with a lot of fans, is there was just no contrition. Everybody was just acting sort of put upon when they didn't serve a single moment of a penalty. They didn't get suspended for a game. They didn't pay a penny in fines. The players, I'm talking the perpetrators.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's lingered. But he's part of that. He's the face of it. Having said all of that, if he's healthy, I would absolutely love to have him on this team because love him or hate him, the guy can play. The guy's a good player when he's healthy. Now, the only thing that gives me pause is he's been out for a long time with this injury, and it's not a new injury for him. He's 31 years old. So
I don't think it's going to get better.
I don't know that it gets better, and I don't know how long is it going to take him to get up to speed? If he's still 3 weeks away, is it all right? Then is he rehab assignments? Is he got to go through the minor league system for a little bit just to get a little rhythm back? And how long until he becomes that guy again that he was prior to the injury? Basically, the question is, if he is traded to the Mariners or the Tigers, is he going to hit the ground running? Is he going to be somebody that, well, hopefully that bat comes to life in September? What's a realistic expectation for him based on this injury?
Yeah, and which kind of made us talk about a little bit about just how some guys are just built better than others. And I'm sorry, like I said, when you get older, it's only going to get worse as far as the injuries go. I mean, that would be the big concern there. But
yeah. And he also is, I'm going to assume, wants a big deal, which I don't know that the Mariners are eager to give a big deal. I mean, he can opt out after he signed a 3-year deal with the Red Sox, but he's got an opt out after the season. Everybody thinks he's going to opt out, to collect big. So, are the Mariners in the market for that? Are they how many of their prospects are they willing to give up for a guy that they may not be able to re-sign, or maybe they don't want to pay the price tag that Scott Boras, who's a very tough agent to deal with, do they want to get involved with that? Is this? Yeah, I agree with JP. I'd go Suarez.
Yeah.
Bregman's a hell of a player, but again, I don't know where he's at physically. He's got Boras as his agent. Gino's been here. You know what he brings to this clubhouse. You know the power he brings. He's healthy. I would, if it's a choice between the two, give me Suarez and give me Naylor too, if you could throw him in. That'd be great.
Both those guys. I mean, you always talk about the corner positions on the infield needing to get power there, and you really
that would solve both problems.
Yeah, exactly. And I just Eugenio Suarez to me is that makes the most sense, and that's what JP has been kind of. He's pretty sure that is a way better deal than going the Bregman route. But yeah, I mean, I think, and the other thing is, like last night, Ben Williamson made a couple of really beautiful plays, but like he just doesn't have that power. What does he have? 1 home run?
He's got 1 home run. He finally drove in his 14th RBI. He was sitting on 13 forever.
Yeah.
And again, this is not to rip on it. He's done a nice job defensively.
He's
been great. But you're just not getting production there. Right. You're not getting production from your whole infield outside of Cal. I mean, you're just not, and you need it. Jeff Passan was asked about this, about the M's potentially trading for Bregman. Here's what he had to say about it.
I think there's a question of could versus should versus would. Could they? Sure. They have the money to do it. They have the prospects to do it. They have the motivation to do it. And for that reason, should they? Absolutely, they should. Alex Bregman is potentially the most impactful guy to move at this deadline. And if you're a Seattle Mariners team that's kind of treading water right now, in a playoff spot, but clearly weaknesses, and the most striking of those weaknesses right now, third base, then yes, you should. Would they? I mean, we get back to the same question that we do every offseason. Would the Mariners go out and spend real money on a guy who's going to improve their team? And up to this point, they have not shown a willingness to do that.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that over the last several years.
Yeah,
and as it relates to the Mariners, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, once I hear Eugenio Suarez, I'm like, I don't really want to think about anything else. The other thing is, I don't want to see the awkward moment when you walk up to him and tell him that you need to change your face. You're gonna be like we're gonna get the member from Step Brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Your face is making me crazy. I didn't hear a word you just said.
You need to change it.
Jeff Passan went on to talk about the M's would have to weigh whether they'd be willing to take on Bregman's salary if he chooses not to opt out, because you still have 2 more years on that deal.
So if you're the Mariners, do you feel like, beyond John Stanton, if you're Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander, do you feel like $40 million a year when this organization has already set budgets, when you have Logan Gilbert, who's going to be getting a raise in arbitration. You have George Kirby, who's going to be getting a raise in arbitration. Yeah, you got Cal Raleigh locked in. You've got Julio Rodriguez locked in. But there are other elements of this payroll that are bound to go up. And if you're the Mariners and you know that your payroll is going to be finite and that a move like Bregman could potentially keep you from doing more in the winter, is that something you want to do?
Yeah, they don't do much in the winter, though, so I think we're okay there. And then just one last one from Passan, just talking about a team that trades for Bregman would have to be eyes wide open about that opt-out option, but also consider that $40 million a year is a lot of money you're going to be committed to if he doesn't opt out.
I think because the contract is in place right now already, it's a little different scenario. You're not negotiating with anybody else potentially. There are no other teams that are going to be involved with the terms. You're just inheriting what's there already. And so I think the Mariners would go into this with eyes wide open about that if Alex Bregman has the kind of production that you are hoping that he would have, then he would probably opt out, and those last 2 years at $40 million would not be your issue anymore. But you also have to account for the fact that a $40 million average annual value is something that only a handful of guys in Major League Baseball have.
So, yeah, you could potentially be on I'm assuming he'd opt out. I mean, he was on a tear before he got hurt. He was having a heck of a season. He was hitting .299, .385 on base, .553 slug. He had 11 home runs in just 197 at-bats this season. So he had already matched what Julio's done.
Yeah.
He was having a tremendous start to his career with the Red Sox and then the injury. So, I don't know. I would as much as I've talked about him in a negative way, if the Mariners said, guess what, we just pulled off a trade for Bregman, I'd be like, oh, yes.
Yeah. All I can see is Eugenio Suarez's stats right now. I'm sorry. 254. He's got 69 RBIs and 26 home runs right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Problem solved. And a great guy.
Yeah, you know what you're getting there. You know how he fits. All right, coming up, should Aaron Rodgers be given full autonomy in Pittsburgh? We're going to hear what one NFL expert thinks about that when we sweep the dial. Coming up with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Tonight,
Logan looks in. Here's the stretch.
the Mariners send Logan Gilbert to the mound as the M's look for their 3rd win in their last 4 games.
The 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
Mariners, Royals.
Go down swinging.
First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you to pregame at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X-Fi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards, USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs, Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Progressive knows we all crave validation.
Girl, you are not 37.
I would have guessed 27.
You guys are too sweet.
Sure, dewy skin.
Terrific.
Is something wrong, Ned?
Why would you ask? Just because today marks my 10th anniversary without a car accident or even a speeding ticket? But somehow, tonight's all about your skincare. Wow.
With Snapshot from Progressive, you can get a personalized rate based on how you drive. And that's all the validation you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation or get my free book on trucking accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
The home of the Mariners.
Left off to center. It is on its way. Julio, two-run home run.
Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Headed to the ballpark? Skip the traffic jams, parking fees, and the stress of driving. Make riding transit part of your game day ritual. Roll in with your crew, talk stats, and meet fans. No traffic, no stress. Community Transit riders enjoy seamless connections to light rail and ferries to get to Seattle and beyond. And youth 18 and under ride the bus for free. All in for the win. Plan your trip with Community Transit at ctgo.org/home run.
scanning the airwaves for the most interesting and entertaining stories of the day. Sweeping the Dial. Every afternoon at 4:45 with Wyman and Bob.
Presented by Silver Reef Casino Resort.
On Get Up, Paul Feinbaum set some pretty high expectations for Arch Manning.
I think there's a reasonably good chance that Arch Manning will be sitting on the front row in New York at the Heisman ceremony. That's assuming that his team does what it's supposed to do and compete for not only the SEC, but for the national championship. And I really believe they will. I think Steve Sarkisian, who's one of the most amazing play callers I've ever seen, made a critical mistake late in the year. He was way too loyal to Quinn Ewers, who was banged up and was really ineffective. Had Arch Manning been instituted in the second half of that game, I think there's a reasonably good chance that Texas would have beaten Ohio State and won the national championship. They're very capable of doing it again this year. I believe also that Arch Manning is the best college football quarterback we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene in 2006.
Jeez.
Well, I thought Tim Tebow, just to set the standard, I thought he was the greatest college football player of all time. I don't remember anybody, and if you go look at his numbers to support it. I mean, he was like a 67, 65, 68 completion percentage, and then he had a year where he threw 30 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. Plus,
which is amazing because he was not a good thrower of the ball.
No, he wasn't. And then he ends up rushing also for like 3,000 yards. So I mean, that's a really lofty comparison there for Arch Manning.
And he's saying he expects to see him sitting front row in the Heisman ceremony. And I mean, it's tough enough with your last name being Manning.
Right.
I mean, I think that affords you a lot of opportunities and cool things in your life, but it also presents maybe an unrealistic expectation attached to this kid.
Yeah.
To where you got your uncles who are both ridiculously accomplished, and Peyton maybe one of the greatest to ever do it. He's in that category. His other uncles won multiple Super Bowls, and
right.
I mean,
maybe one of the more underrated.
Yeah, I think he's very underrated. But I mean, to have to live up to what they did, it's going to be tough, and you're always going to be compared to them, no matter what.
Yeah, I think the one thing though is that you do have even Archie Manning as far as advice and how to handle things and all that. And I'm sure that he's gotten plenty of advice about how to block out the noise and ridiculous predictions like that. But he went to the extreme degree there, I think.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the guy play and see what he looks like, and maybe he's going to be better than Peyton and his brother.
Yeah. It's Eli.
I know.
Sweeping
you only
the
refer to
dial.
him that way.
Yeah, because he's the lesser of the two. Should have heard what they said about Mom, Pate.
On the Dan Patrick Show, Bill Cowher said that he would give Aaron Rodgers full autonomy in Pittsburgh.
Would you give Rodgers maybe not total autonomy, but would it be similar to what you gave to Ben Roethlisberger? Like go out there and run it.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any question about it. And I think Aaron's at a point where he knows that you don't want to be throwing the ball 40 times a game. I don't think you at this point. You want Aaron Rodgers to be healthy going into the playoffs, and hopefully you get to the playoffs. And I think in the meantime, you created a balance on your football team. You're not just relying on his arm throughout the course of 4 quarters. Listen, you can turn the ball over to him at the end of a half, the end of a game, and know he's been there before. And I think that he will operate that very, very efficiently. Again, I think it's going to be a matter of getting comfortable within this system with the players he has around him.
Could you see Mike Tomlin doing that? Letting
Full
Aaron
autonomy?
just go? Just you
Call the plays.
Don't worry about what the OC says. Don't worry about what you're hearing in your helmet there. You do what you want. I don't think so.
I can't believe that would be the case with Tomlin. And yeah, I mean,
well, especially at this point in his career, this isn't, which sounds weird, but this isn't, 34-year-old Aaron Rodgers. This is 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
In a new system with new players, new faces, you're going to just go do your thing.
Yeah,
whatever you want to run.
The other thing is their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, is one of the more highly regarded offensive minds in the NFL. And yeah, I don't see that happening, but yeah, it's weird that it's coming from Bill Cowher too.
He doesn't have to live with the fallout if it goes the wrong direction. Right. So yeah, I don't know. He had total autonomy, it seems like, in New York with the Jets.
Yeah.
That wasn't awesome.
No.
Sweeping the dial.
On Kevin Hart's show, Lamar Jackson discussed the biggest adjustment he had to make coming into the NFL.
I'm gonna say being a leader because I'm really not outspoken, like being vocal with my guys, like, oh, let's do this and that, or got a great motivational speech. I don't have that. I just pretty much lead by example. I go out there, I'm gonna work hard. I expect that out of you. But as I've been growing in the league, it's like, nah, you gotta talk to the guys. Coaches and stuff like to tell me, like, talk to the guys. I'm like, all right. Now I talk to them one-on-one, but certain things I'm seeing, I gotta voice it more. I voice my opinion more to those guys.
Yeah, it's funny how some guys have it and some don't realize it. But it makes me love Lamar Jackson even more because he knows that he's just not that guy.
Yeah.
But he makes it very clear that, you look at what I'm doing. I mean, you look at what he's doing. He's phenomenal. But
you think a quarterback needs to be vocal, though? That they have to be that leader?
Not necessarily. I told you the story about John Elway when in the playoff game going, guys, just stop him one time. Please, just once.
I don't ask for much.
Because it was like a 49-42 game or whatever. But I don't remember him giving big fiery speeches. Dave Craig as well. He just didn't have that in him. But like Jacob Green, when he got up and talked, everybody listened.
Yeah.
Everybody listened. But, not everybody has that. And Lamar Jackson just realizing that, I think that alone makes him a great leader. And, yeah, you look at how hard that guy plays. I mean,
he's so good.
That's all you need to do.
He is such a weapon.
Oh, man, it's incredible. And I used to love watching Aaron Rodgers, throw passes, and he was always a show. But Lamar Jackson, I mean, that's must-watch TV. I watch a lot of Baltimore Ravens, either, highlights or watch the games because you never know what he's going to do, man. He's just incredible.
Yeah, it's fun to watch him, and it's scary to play him.
Yeah.
When your team's facing off against him, you're like, oh boy, all right. What are you gonna do to handle this guy?
I think the closest I ever came to that was Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a nightmare. But if you look at, I feel like Lamar Jackson could play safety. He's just such a good football player, and certainly could be a running back. I don't know if he'd have the durability for it, but yeah, he's just he's must watch. I think more than almost any player. I can't think of another player. I love watching Devin Witherspoon play.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Lamar Jackson I think is number one.
All right, coming up, we're going to hear what Bump and Stacy, Brock and Salk think about the Mariners' biggest needs. It's best of the rest. Coming your way next with Wyman and Bob at Seattle Sports on 710.
Tonight,
Logan looks in. Here's the stretch.
The Mariners send Logan Gilbert to the mound as the M's look for their third win in their last 4 games.
The 3-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Strikeout number 10 for Logan Gilbert.
Mariners, Royals.
Go down swinging.
First pitch at 6:40. Wyman and Bob take you to pregame at 5:30 on the home of the Mariners, Seattle Sports. Hear every pitch on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hi, my name is Jordan Gage, head of school at King Schools. Is tuition cost the #1 thing keeping you from making the leap into Christian education? Did you know that King Schools awards over $2.3 million in tuition assistance every year? 25% of the families that make up this incredible Kings community utilize our variable tuition program to make Kings more accessible. The team at Kings would love to have you on campus for a tour and consultation to see how to make it possible for your family to experience the difference in Christian education at Kings.
Mention this ad and no application fee. Go to joinkings.org for more more info.
It's our biggest event of the summer, the Putts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Thousands of items on sale on the best brands in the game and at unthinkable savings. Don't be left out. It all starts Thursday for 4 days only at Putts.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So, I was taking my side hustle full-time.
Bold move, my friend.
And I needed to find everything in one stop.
Like finding Bigfoot riding a unicorn.
Yes, so I hit the Staples Easy button. Staples had everything for a new office and print services for signs and brochures. Plus, Cindy, the Staples associate, helped me find the best tech for me.
Wait, no drama?
No, Staples made it easy.
For the products, services, and experts your business needs. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it. I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce. Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. A wireless company that actually stands for something.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99, was $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever. Right now at the Home Depot.
The countdown is on.
21 days until Seahawks training camp.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. 710 KIRO AM Seattle and KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Well, some cool news for a Seattle legend. The Seattle Storm, in partnership with Climate Pledge Arena, announced today that a statue honoring WNBA legend and Hall of Famer Sue Bird will be unveiled on Sunday, August 17th at 10 a.m. The Storm is the first franchise in WNBA history to dedicate a statue to a former player. So congratulations to Sue Bird getting a statue, and it is well-deserved, well-earned. Meanwhile, Mariners get back to it tonight after dropping Game 2 of their 4-game series to the Royals. They'll send Logan Gilbert to the hill tonight. You can catch it all starting at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:40 first pitch right here, Seattle Sports on 710. Game's going on right now. Phillies up on the Padres in the top of the 7th, 4-1. The Twins over the Marlins right now, top of the 6th. They're up 2-1. It's the Nationals with the 3-1 lead over the Tigers in the top of the 4th. Blue Jays beating up on the Yankees 7-0, and it's just the top of the 3rd right now. Red Sox with a 1-0 lead over the Reds in the top of the 4th. Mets up 5-0 on the Brewers. That one in the bottom of the 3rd. Angels up on the Braves right now in the bottom of the 2nd, 2-0.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, this is Wyman and Bob.
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming live on the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton.
You got Mariners pregame coming up at 5:30. Before that, we'll find out what we learned. And even before that, we got to get to some of the conversations happening with Brock and Salk, Bump and Stacy. We call it Best of the Rest.
We know you love listening to us, but there are great discussions happening all over our station.
I need more Jake Bobo. I need more of them.
Because Jake Bobo is objectively fun to say.
Yeah, I'm just not good at bats.
Let's
tone
it down.
It's time for the Best of the Rest.
How dare you?
We'll start with Brock and Brian Walters talking about the whole possibility of Alex Bregman coming here versus Suarez and or Naylor coming here, and just talking about, I guess, their preferences on the two. I think we made it pretty clear where we stand, but this is what Brock and Brian Walters had to say about it.
Would you rather have Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor on 2-month rentals, or the opportunity to have Bregman, yes, who does have an opt-out, but for 2 more years beyond this season?
Yeah, that's the key question right there, because Bregman's going to do the opt-out. So I'm going to take 2 bats. I think 2 bats is better than 1, especially those bats. For the sake of the argument, you're expecting Bregman to come in and put up Bregman-type numbers. That's why you're getting him. That's why you are trading for him. So I'm going to assume Bregman is going to excel and going to put up big numbers. I'm not going to assume he's going to be injured. I'm not going to assume he's going to hit, below 200. Yeah, I'm assuming the best of Bregman and the best of Suarez and Naylor. That's what I'm doing with this deal.
Gotcha.
And to me, I'm going to pick the best of the 2 bats. I'm going to pick Suarez and Naylor and get those guys dialed in, just because I think those are 2 positions to fill. And if you can do it in one trade, that would be huge. First base, third base, boom, done, and you're off. You're rolling.
The intrigue with Bregman, obviously, is just the edge that he brings. I will say this. I, too, lean at the end of the day. At the start of the conversation with Jeff, I think I leaned Bregman. I think at the end of it here, after going back and forth, I probably do lean those 2 bats. That's what data tells you. That's what the NFL draft tells you. That's what NFL free agency tells you. That's what all the analytics tell you, is that you want volume. You want more swings at it. And in this case, you do have somebody you know really well in a Suarez and a Naylor, a little bit like Bregman. It's played a bunch of playoff baseball and been just a feisty, tough sucker at that first base side as well.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, well,
if you're giving me the choice of those 2 versus this one, I get it that there's the potential he doesn't opt out. I would say with Scott Boras as your agent, barring a catastrophic second half, he comes back, he hits a $180, he looks hurt and hobbled. All right, the market's not going to be there for that extension, so maybe he doesn't opt out. But I don't want to deal with that reality either. All right, maybe he's breaking down, and you're on the hook for $80 million still with this guy who's going to be 32 years old. So, if you're giving me the choice between and they're all at their best. Bregman's at his best. Suarez, Naylor at their best. You're addressing 2 holes in your infield with the other one. You're getting 2 productive bats in your lineup. Give me that every day, all day. Is not even really a discussion.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I was like, okay, if you did one or the other, and really I'm with JP on, because he said I think it's Eugenio Suarez, or he says Suarez, instead of Bregman. But you throw Josh Naylor in there as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I know it's kind of weird that, he was here, you let him go, and then, but I mean, everybody knows what he is all about.
Yeah.
And this guy is just a gem of a human being. He was great in the clubhouse, and I just loved watching him play defense too. And so, if you don't have Ben Williamson out there, okay. And like JP said, it's not like it's the end of the world for him to get sent down. And, and it solves a problem there. So I'll just take Suarez, head to head with Bregman, but you throw in Naylor as well.
Yeah. I like this 253 said, call me emotional, but I'd rather keep being mediocre than break the piggy bank to hire a jerk Astro. And no, that didn't come from my phone. Yeah, that's an easy debate right there. All right, this one comes from Bump and Stacy, and they talked about just the importance of the next 2 weeks for the Seattle Mariners franchise.
The next 2 weeks are pretty important for the Mariners. I think it's hugely important for the Mariners that you play some of your best baseball right now. Take this series from the Royals, take a series from the Pirates, because unfortunately for you, you're going to face off against the Yankees and the Tigers before the All-Star break.
We're not good enough to look past anybody,
No.
right? But you do look at the remaining series before the All-Star break and say, okay, these are the have-tos. You have to win the series against the Royals. You have to win that series against the Pirates, because after that, it's going to get tough. And are they good enough to compete with these teams? Of course they are. We've seen them compete with the Yankees before when they're hot. We've seen them compete with the Tigers before when they're hot. Yeah, of course you can. But you take care of the series you're supposed to take care of. I guarantee you the Yankees are looking at the series against the Mariners and saying, we'll take care of that. Mm-hmm. The Tigers, same thing, we'll take care of that. So you got to be the spoiler. But when it comes to just playing to the level of your competition, that's the thing, is that when you're playing against the weaker teams, you don't play to their level. You play to your level. When you're playing against the better teams, you do step it up and play to their level. Can you continue to get the pitching that you've been getting and just the sprinkles of help between in the order between like 4 and 9? Can you do that? If there's a time for Julio to turn it on, which he's been playing decent baseball as of late, right? Not what we want, but decent baseball. If there is a time for him to flip that switch and lead this team, now would be the time, because like I said, I see him moving in the right direction. His launch angles are a little off. He's hitting the top of the ball. He's chopping it down. He's beating out throws at first base. Like, he's playing a scrappy kind of baseball right now, which I can appreciate defensively. He's one of the best in the game. But now it's time to smooth it out.
Yeah, just get Cal some help. We need help there. I'm looking at right now, you got Gilbert and Wu going the rest of this series. I like their chances for taking 3 out of 4, and then you go into the Pittsburgh series, a 3-game series, and you got Castillo and Kirby.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to end up doing with that 5th spot, but if you just take the series from Pittsburgh, I think they can take 3 or 4 against KC, and then I have no idea like JP said, as far as the Yankees go, that they're kind of in a slump right now, and but I don't know. You never. I think, like Bump said, they're probably looking at that series going, "Oh yeah, we're going to take that one."
Yeah, the Yankees might be there to be had. We'll find out what they've got a couple series to complete before they face the Mariners. They'll be on the road against Toronto. Or they're on the road against Toronto, I should say. They'll be on the road against the Mets, which isn't much of a road trip in New York. But and then Seattle comes to town. But, yeah, they've struggled. They've lost 3 of 4. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've been shut out. They got shut out 3 games in a row earlier. 2 to Boston, 1 to Boston, 2 to the Angels. Angels shut them out 1-0, 4-0, and they lost 2-0 to Boston. So even with that offense, with everything they've got, they got shut out 3 games in a row. So yeah, they the A's shut them out 7-0. So they've had some issues. They've certainly had some issues, and hopefully they don't clear any of those issues up before the Mariners get to town. So, right now they're being shut out 7-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning by the Blue Jays. So maybe they're there to be had. We shouldn't look at. It's still a tough road trip. It's still the Yankees. You never know when they're going to, just unload. When you got Judge, you got Stan, that's a loaded lineup. So we'll see what happens. But he's right in that they're not playing well right now, and hopefully that continues for a bit. This one comes from Brock and Brian Walters, just talking about Julio, and he needs to figure out who he is at the plate.
And I know I'm really hard on Julio. I'm probably harder on Julio Rodriguez on this roster than I am any other Mariner. And Salk and I have bantered about this, and I'll get kind of Passan's feelings on this, but it just kind of almost 90 games into the season is crystallized a little bit for me. And that is, and this was my tweet last night, I'd really like Julio to figure out who and what he wants to be in the batter's box. 4 years in, it feels like he is still searching for that consistent identity of what he wants to be as a hitter. As Cal goes, so go the Mariners. As Julio goes, so go the Mariners' ceiling. And it's one of these lines. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. You talked about it as an athlete. I think you and I were very similar. We were in the 80-20. We were in the 80% rule, which was, 20% of the guys make all the money. They've got a pretty good living in the NFL. 80% of you are year to year, and you got to fight for some minimum contracts, and you got to, fight to survive. And I think a lot of times those 80 guys are in, tinker mode. Are in, okay, I got to improve myself mode. Are in, I got to get myself, better and somehow find a way to make this team mode. Julio, contractually, talent-wise, is kind of on the other side of that, as is Cal, right? And yet it feels like, to me, Julio tinkers in just trying to find an identity of what he wants to be, gosh, about as much as anybody else in that lineup. Does that make any sense?
No, it does make complete sense. And fortunately for those guys like Julio who are in that 20%, I guess the tinkering is, I guess you're allowed to do that more. It's not as much of a risk. Us in the 80% or me in the 80%, when you're tinkering, it doesn't work. You're like, oh, I just lost my job. I'm done. I'm no more.
Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with him tinkering until he lands on something that works consistently. Yeah. He's landed on things that have worked. We've chronicled that over and over and over. And you isolated a hot streak of 45 games from last year where he was just on an absolute tear, like a Cal tear. 11 home runs in 45 games, hitting in the high 300s and almost a 400 on base, all that stuff. But his problem is that his highs are so high and his lows are so low. It's just where's that just kind of middling. It's great. Yeah. The highs are fun, but they can't be so extreme. You can't have months of relatively little to no production, and then you go crazy for 5 weeks.
Right.
Because you need those games where you're cold, ice cold, you're not driving it. He's hitting barely over 200 with runners in scoring position. How many games are you losing because of that? And I'm not blaming the loss on him, but he could have affected the outcome of that game with a base hit with a runners on second and third, and he didn't.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that's frustrating, I think, about Julio is if you go back through his career, as you just pointed out, and, we talked about it earlier, that you can find stretches of 40, 45 games or a month and a half where he's just killing it. He's crushing it. But then it always goes away. And then it's like there's no middle ground for him. So, yeah, I'm curious.
This actually kind of feels like a middle ground right now.
Yeah, right now.
Without power.
Yeah.
In terms of he's getting on base. He's getting his base hits. I mean, look at his game log. He's getting, at least a hit a game, it feels like. I think he's got like a 5-game hit streak maybe going or something. But he's a game with multiple hits. We saw it the other night where he had 3 singles and all of them off the bat over 100 miles an hour. But they were 3 singles. He's not doing the damage. He's not his slug is down. He's not coming up with doubles, triples, home runs. So it feels like a weird kind of middling point where, he's getting on base. He still leads the team in base hits, So he's getting his hits, but he's not doing any damage.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just frustrating for him. He's still only 24 years old. I know people are going to get pissed about that, but there's plenty of time. And in the meantime, and it always is kind of, it sort of adds to him going 0 for 4 when he makes a mistake in the outfield, because that's the one thing that we said, look, man, I mean, defensively, he's fantastic. And, and he has the no-fly zone. And in the beginning, I was like, it's a little early for this, isn't it? But he's lived up to that.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal outfield. I don't know what the hell happened last night. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
But I'm not going with the win because I didn't see anybody else struggling to read the fly ball off the bat. But whatever. It was a bad moment. Wasn't a great game, and hopefully they turn around. By the way, I have to say, when we were talking about Bregman coming here, some of the texts coming in were cracking me up. People just 206. I don't like the idea of having to boo someone on my team. Mitch in Tacoma said, God. With all due respect, hell no to Alex Bregman. So, yeah, a little pushback on the idea of Bregman coming to the Mariners, but I don't know that that's reality.
Can you imagine they sign him here and he gets up his first AB and people are booing him?
That would be something. That would be something. The Mariners hosting the Royals tonight, and the T-Mobile Park roof will be open. Another beautiful night for baseball out there. That's the Mariners Roof Report, brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Time to find out what we learned today.
This is a house of learned doctors. What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
What did we learn today?
No one's a bigger idiot than me.
Stupidity is the easiest way out.
Was there a lot of learning today, Matt? Did we learn all kinds of new
As
neat
always,
stuff?
everyone came away from the show smarter.
You had a pretty crowded box back there for a while. We had visitors.
Oh, there was a lot of volume coming out of there.
I think that's why I feel so exhausted today, is just that there's been too many people in this room all day.
And they all like to talk.
Yeah.
A lot of talkers.
Yeah, Dave and I are gonna have a mandate. We're gonna start closing this door because we were having to shout to each other over the volume coming out of there.
Okay, but only if I'm allowed to close myself into the backup studio.
You're totally doing.
This is going to become a 3-room broadcast.
Yeah,
whatever you need to do.
You, Brady, Matt, Ian.
Well, and I always say
it's a lot
every
of
once in a
volume.
while I'll close the door there because sometimes the grown-ups need to talk. Okay.
But really, it's just that the grown-ups need a rest.
You can come in, Matt, but when Lefko gets back,
he stays there.
We'll leave him in there with.
He's
with
relegated to that room.
Brady and Ian.
Only if you don't talk to me when I'm in there.
Yeah. Matt comes in here and just says nothing. He just sits.
I just come in there and I read a book for the 5-minute break, and that's it. That's all we do.
What did we learn today?
Well, we learned that Dave made an offer he might already regret.
We got a killer guest room at our place.
Hey, just
nicer than my bedroom.
so I might take you up on that, and just remember this though. We travel heavy. We, the Morosi family. So it's me, and then my wife and our 3 girls. So it's all of us, and it's amazing how
travel heavy.
We have progressively gotten louder and louder and louder. I thought that as a family that we were already fairly animated, but my goodness, we get louder by the day. I'm
Dave's
cool with
regretting that offer right now.
Yes,
Like,
so
first of all, I didn't know there were 5 of you.
Yeah, there's 5 of us. You know,
5
we
loud
tend-
people.
5, and again, I am in many ways probably the most subdued member of the family.
Oh,
so just
boy.
keep that in mind.
Okay. JP, just such a gem. But you know,
I love that we travel heavy.
That was funny. I appreciate that. You know, I was telling you during the break that every once in a while when my kids were growing up, you know, when they were between 4 and 6 or whatever, and then especially into the teenage years, sometimes you want to complain about your kids, and there were always those couples that are like, oh, he is perfect little angel. And
We've got no trouble with our children.
No. And I'm like, Shannon, we can't hang out with those people anymore.
They're not
I'm
our
sorry.
friends anymore.
Yeah, you like to hear somebody, be real, because that's what happens. And JP, very real there, but he did it in such a nice way. It just cracked me up.
Can you imagine all 5 of them staying at your house?
Yeah, sounds
really loud.
And he's the most subdued.
Dave's going to be over there going, I regret this invitation.
I feel like every time we talk to JP, he's got like another 25 minutes. That he can do. So,
what else? By the way, I was just looking at the Mariners lineup that's out for tonight. Cal's not in the lineup as a DH or the catcher. Your DH is Polanco. Your Garver is catching. So
we probably pulled something doing the practice for the home run derby,
or he's still exhausted. The swings really took it out of him, so he's not in the lineup tonight. So it goes Crawford, Rodriguez, Arozarena, Solano. Wow, they moved him up to 5th. Polanco, Garver, Dylan Moore. Dylan Moore's back in there. It's a new month. He had 1 hit in the month of June. See if he can double that in July.
We did over-under on him, right? We had no idea if he was going to be in the lineup or not.
It wasn't yet. Yeah, this will be his first time there. And then Williamson and Young rounding out your 9 there. So
Dino's going to go 3 for 4.
He might. He's due. He's due in a big way. What else did we learn?
We learned that Jon Morosi is just like any other father.
I am no different than any other dad, right? Like I just can't. I can't
love
win.
it.
I at times, the number of times I'm like, yeah. So tell me about your pitcher, and then I have to put the phone on mute. Could you leave me alone for 10 minutes, please? Okay, unmute. Yeah, coach, it's a great point. I've been impressed by his slider too. I mean, listen, I am no cooler than anybody else. I can assure you of that.
He's human, Dave. He's human.
I love that. Could you leave me alone?
He probably says it with a huge smile on his face, too.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine him barking at his kids or barking at anybody for that matter.
Yeah, he's. But I love the way he put it, because that's what made me laugh, I think, the most, is that sometimes they don't have enough gratitude. Is that the way he put it? But
complaining about the camp he chose.
He was on fire today. The other thing was, we were talking about the Cal Raleigh thing, and, he said, it's a thing if you want it to be.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great quote because, I think people want it to be a thing, and it's not.
What else did we learn, Matt?
Finally, we learned the Morosi family motto.
JP, you're the best, man. Wyman's going to get to soundproofing that guest room for your arrival for the Morosi clan, so they hear all the noise that you generate there. So that offer still stands should you guys need an extra place.
I'm planning on it. Seattle, Vancouver, summer of 26. We'll print out the T-shirts. Summer. It's summer at Wyman's, and the whole thing. We'll like to have the T-shirts made with the Morosi family. You hear us before you see us. That's our motto. So there you go.
I love it.
I
didn't hear us before you see us. That's great.
I didn't say anything about all summer, did I? Thought we were talking about a weekend.
I think he's talking about a summer tour, the Morosi summer tour. That's going to be a tour shirt, and on the back where they usually list the cities, it'll say Wyman household.
Wyman house.
Yeah. Everybody else they stayed with. The end. That's where the trip came to a screeching halt. Yeah, maybe you get the kids out there doing some yard work for you.
Hey, there you go.
Picking up Hoover's poop.
Yeah. Put them to work.
Yeah, earn their keep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they cook. Yeah, it might be a good thing to have all of them there. You never know. I like that. You hear us before you see us. Oh, so good. All right. That's all the learning?
That's all the learning.
That's all the learning today. All right. Want to thank our guests today, Chris Gray and Jon Morosi. If you missed any part of that, you missed a lot. So make sure to check it out on the podcast page. Just head to seattlesports.com and click that podcast tab. Scroll down to our picture and click on that, and it'll be right there waiting for you after the show, as it is each and every night. And don't forget, you can just click subscribe, which is totally free, and then never go through the process again. It just shows up for you automatically. It's a beautiful thing. You got the Mariners and Royals Game 3 coming your way next. We'll talk to you tomorrow with Wyman and Bob.
ESPN senior MLB insider Jeff Passan with Brock and Salk.
I'm leaning a little bit more into that Bregman train.
I think there's a question of could versus should versus would. Could they? Sure. Should they? Absolutely. Would they? We get back to the same question that we do every offseason. Would the Mariners go out and spend real money on a guy? Up to this point, they have not shown a willingness to do that.
Get more on the Seattle Sports YouTube page and the Seattle Sports app.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card, allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
21 days until Seahawks training camp. And Seahawks training camp lives on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
The Golfapalooza of the summer, the Butts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Titleist, FootJoy, TaylorMade, Callaway, the biggest names at 50 to 70% off. It's your time to save, and it all starts Thursday at Butts.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here, and the opening day for the hotel is August 8th. Book now for an unforgettable summer experience. Go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
This is Chris Davis with the Davis Law Group. Did you know that a pedestrian does not have to be crossing the street on a marked crosswalk to have a successful legal claim against the driver? Pedestrians can even be partially at fault for a collision and still have a valuable claim. Call us today for a free consultation or get my free book on pedestrian accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
Hey, Brock Ewart here for my friends over at Xfinity. You know, change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, we know that change is all around us. Songs are rewritten and remade. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists, well, they come and go. Even our taste in music, as we get older, can change a bit. But no matter how things change in 5 years, there's one thing that will stay the same. And that is the price of your internet. That's right. Xfinity is introducing a 5-year price guarantee. It means you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with their best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Are you surprised? Well, life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Now, restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August of 2024. Go check it all out right online at Xfinity.com/deals.
21 days until Seahawks